Hey, this is Zepp, and on behalf of the guys, Stru, Boomer, and Lukey, we want to thank you for downloading and listening to our podcast of The Ticket Outdoors, brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm. And remember, when nothing's going right, just go fishing.
Summer fun begins at Mills Fleet Farm. For thrills on the water, jump on a full-throttle Enforcer towable on sale, $99.99. Save on Michelin tires. Buy 4, get a $70 MasterCard reward card. Bring home the good stuff for your pets. Get a $10 gift card when you buy select sizes of Science Diet dog or cat food. And stock up on Pine Tree Farms suet cakes. They're just 69 cents each at Mills Fleet Farm.
It's time for Ticket Outdoors on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
That's right. We've got a guest on Boomer's mic. We can go ahead and turn it up to a normal level tonight. Welcome to Ticket Outdoors. This is Zepp with the wild card, Steve Struzinski.
I'm back in town. Looking forward to a good time tonight, buddy. I'm looking forward to a good time. Keep playing that music. We have no guests tonight except Boomer, so keep playing that music.
I did go ahead and dub in the entire Joe Giuliano song collection. We're just going to be listening to that for the next couple hours, interrupting with some messages from our fine sponsors. Our producer, Mark Lukey, is in. Who needs Boomer when you've got Mr. Chatty Lukey over there?
You kind of referred to me as a guest. I don't know how I feel about that.
Well,
we have a guest on
hang
Boomer's
on, here
mic.
we go again. Just like a couple of weeks back, you heard Mr. Lukey right now. You heard his voice.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, that voice produced a second child coming up here. A second boy coming up in December, right?
You listeners know before my family.
Yeah,
I'm having another boy, and we just found out today. So, the boat's going to be full of little Marks running around.
She's a stay-at-home mom, isn't she?
She's not. No,
okay.
she works at home, but
she's got the best of both worlds. She works for the vets department or something, right?
Department of Veterans Affairs.
And she works at her house.
I'm just saying, Mark is expecting, as far as we know. We won't know until we get a blood test back on that.
Could be a brand new movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger and that little guy.
Congratulations. We told him off the air. That means you're having 3. You got to go for the girl.
We'll see how this one goes, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, congratulations, man.
My son Nick's got 5. You can have 1 or 2 of his and kind of even things out.
Or can you swap. Do that? Yeah, swap kids.
I think you can. Hey, speaking about Joe Giuliano, I was thinking about this today. Who's the guy, one of the Pohlads, produces movies, right? Is it Bill?
Brokeback Mountain.
And he's doing the one with Willie Harrelson, I think, at the Mall of America. I think he is, but he's done some big ones. He's very very successful. I think someone should do a story about the life story of Joe Giuliano. Those people who are listening don't even know who Joe Giuliano is, but I'll tell you what, it'd be a hell of a story with his background, the stuff that we know about Joe Giuliano.
A blues musician, and our little intro music there is from one of his tunes.
Yeah.
And we would go up and see him at Holohan's on occasion. You found him, it's true, and I've been up there a couple of times to see him play. I don't know if he's still doing that on Wednesdays. And I sat down and spoke with him when I was your guest for just a moment, and he had like 3 really cool bluesman stories, you know, about losing B.B. King's jacket or acquiring it, then losing it, and hitchhiking to, I don't want to give up his personal stories.
Yeah,
but
that was Chubby Checker's jacket. And
Chubby Checkers, right? Yeah.
Chubby Checker, he was doing a front show for Chubby Checker, traveling around the country as one of the front bands, whatever. And Joe Giuliano is a star in his own right, and he and his group got shafted by Chubby Checker. He didn't pay him the money that Joe Giuliano was supposed to get paid.
Yeah.
So Joe Giuliano thought, well, okay, that's fine. Have a good day. Shakes his hand, walks out of his locker room, whatever, and steals Chubby Checker's long mink coat, whatever this thing was.
Right. I'm sure it was worth a fortune.
And he was known for having a whole bunch of pockets and things, whatever. So Joe Giuliano had to fly his wife home to New Jersey from South Carolina or Florida or someplace, and he hitchhiked. He's hitchhiking down the road with his big, beautiful mink coat on, a suitcase, and a guitar. Cops pull him over and says, what's going on here? And he tells the story. I'm hitchhiking. Here's exactly what's going on. Whose jacket is this? Well, it's mine now. So they take the jacket off of Joe Giuliano, feel all the pockets. They find some marijuana in the pocket.
Oh, Chubby.
Oh, Chubby. They take Chubby's jacket and said, tell Joe to go on your way, pal. And who knows where Chubby Checker's jacket is today? But that's
Blueberry Hills.
Yeah, just one of the stories. But that's not all about the Ticket Outdoors. How was your week, my friend?
I had a good week this week. Didn't really get a chance to get out and do any fishing. A lot of work, making hay these days. So haven't had a chance to do any of that. Well, I'm actually going to be going up with a friend, Rick, who has a little hunting property up north of Alexandria. I forget the name of the lake up there, but it's near the lake. And we're going to do a little early whitetail scouting. I should actually talk about that next week because people are starting to get the cams out, I know it's middle of July, nearing the end of July, and you're talking about whitetail scouting, but it's already time to start picking out your buck, I think. So,
are you going deer hunting this year in Minnesota?
I am going to be going up on this piece of property this year. Yeah, so we're going to start doing that. So I'm excited. I get to think about whitetails this week, and I'm going to get up and get out on the trails next week. So that's going to be really cool. But otherwise,
there's nothing better than being in the woods, especially at a time of the year when you're not freezing your butt off and you're just enjoying yourself, relaxed, hearing all the animals and watching all the animals. I think that'd be fun. I've never really, when I go pre-scouting up in Ely, Minnesota, it's usually for about a day or two prior to deer hunting, and that's about it.
Yeah,
because we don't have time. Life gets in the way.
Well, things have changed now. Guys have their hunting properties, and Rick and Steve that own this property together, about 120 acres, plant it, and they can, do the conservation on it, and go to the Minnesota DNR site for different tips on how to do that. And then, of course, you're going to move the trail cameras around to think where the right trails are and where the right watering and how they're feeding this year. So excited about that. Sunday, Stu, I had a chance to get out to the Wings of the North Air Expo at Flying Cloud Drive. Mark was out there with me. Just a blast.
Yeah.
And this is my third trip out there, and very blessed and lucky to make my third trip up in a World War II vintage or airplane. The first year was the Avenger, the Grumman Avenger, a bomber that they flew off of aircraft carriers and nicknamed the dump truck. And it feels like a dump truck in the air. Every time that thing would start to turn, you'd be like, it's going to fall. A little more gas up there. Throttle, Captain. Then last year, a huge thrill to go up in the B-17 Yankee Lady. But this year, a unique thrill because I went up with Scott Romald, and Greg Benson was the Air Ops coordinator out there. A big thank you to Gary Krieg with Wings of the North Air Expo for letting me be a little boy out there. And I went up with one of the T-6 trainers. These never saw service. These were the airplanes that you trained in before you went overseas and flew your various aircraft. And they're the T-6 Thunder flight team. Let me get that right. T6thunder.com. Check them out. And they fly in formation, squadrons. You've probably seen them. They do flyovers, Twins games all the time and various events around town all summer long. And they let me go up in formation with them and do kind of a unique thing called the missing man flyby. So I had a backseat view at altitude as these 5, I want to say, let me count them up in my head. Yeah, squadron of 5, maybe it was 6. And then one of them turns on the smoke and flies away from the formation. A salute for a missing pilot or a downed pilot, the missing man flyby. I've had a chance to see a few of them, but not from that vantage point. So that was really cool. It's a small air show, but it's an intimate air show, and it'll be coming back about the same time in July next year. I'll tip everybody off to it, and come on out and join us for Wings of the North Air Expo.
I tell you what you're talking about reminds me of again, the 4th of July parade in Chautauqua, Wisconsin, where they have some of the local guys have their own airplanes in the I don't know what they are, World War II fighter planes that they built and rebuilt, and they love, that's their life. And they go from place to place and fly and show, and they fly over the parade route 3 times, and the third time they come real low and let the smoke go out, and they're playing taps. And every year, I know it's going to happen, but every year you still get the goosebumps, and you think, man, how lucky we are to be where we are right now.
Right, because of the men that originally got in those planes.
Yeah, and speaking of that, remember now our friend Jerry Yellen, one of the gentlemen who flew P-51s in World War II, I am not going to Oshkosh, which is right about now, because things just get in the way. We're talking about life gets in the way.
Yeah.
And I did talk to him a couple of days ago and said, Jerry, because we were planning a meeting there. This gentleman flew 19 missions over Iwo Jima. For those of you who have not heard about this, great guy.
Amazing interview, by the way. I'm sure the podcast, if you go back far enough, was it a few months ago? Anyway.
Yeah, but anyway, put it back up if you can, Mark, because it's a great interview. Jerry Yellen. But anyway, and he flew the last mission over Iwo Jima, and his wingman was the last person killed in World War II. So I had a chance to meet him. Dinah, when I went down to Florida, to Iowa, and spent a day with him. And I called him. I said, Jerry, I'm not going to be able to make it. I apologize, because he was going to take me up, he said, in P-51. And that's one thing you were talking about.
Never been a dream machine.
Anyway, so Jerry, I said, I know that. And part of me says, I would feel guilty for going there, because as much as I care for Jerry Yellen, I'd go for the flight, not Jerry yelling, and that doesn't seem fair. But anyway, so life got in the way. But Jerry told me he's going, but it's going to be a tough week for him there because his wife just passed away about a week ago.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And so his wife is 93 years old, and, it's one of those things. But so prayers to Jerry Yellen, my buddy Jerry Yellen. I will see him August 14th because Diane and I are going to Washington, D.C., and never been there before. And
amazing.
We're going to spend a week there, and I have no idea what we're going to take a look at, but we're going to enjoy ourselves, August 14th.
I envy you that. I really squandered some time there when I was a young troop. We had a 3-day pass and ended up driving down to Washington, D.C., and I can tell you the bar we sat in for 3 days was just amazing. Completely squandered the trip, but I will get back out there again for a proper visit to Washington, D.C. I'm excited for you. Mark Lukey, birthday boy.
Yeah.
I know that you got the SS Ticket Outdoors out on the water this week. Did you get a chance to do any fishing?
Yeah, I took the SS Ticket Outdoors on Snail Lake right by my house and just kind of farted around all day and caught some bluegills, and then I took Monday off for my birthday because I'm a princess, and I went fishing with my good friend Eric, who went to Lake Ogeebic, and we caught a bunch in the North Metro Lake. If I told you, he would kill me, but I caught 3-4 walleyes. I caught big perch. It was a great time. Took a nap most of the day and went out to dinner. It was a good day.
I've had some good pan fishing this year, but I haven't really gotten into the walleye. Like I said, I caught 1 walleye so far this year, but I haven't been fishing a lot for walleye. And now we're getting into those hotter days. We're going to talk quite a bit about fishing tonight. Our buddy Boomer, where is he again? What's this thing called? It's a big
ICAST.
deal.
Some kind of
Yep, I guess it's the world's biggest fishing expo in Florida.
Yeah,
but it's an invite only, I believe, right? All the big shots are down there talking about new gear and whatnot, and I think that's what it's all about.
I think it's where a lot of companies reveal new products, like everything they have going on this year, and people get to pat themselves on the back and so on and so forth.
Yeah, last year, this is a 1-year anniversary for our buddy Boomer, who's going to be on here in a few minutes, I'm sure. But this is when he went down there and caught, was it a marlin? What did he catch last year? 100-pound something or other that he fought for about 45 minutes free hand.
What was that? That's on the tip of my tongue. We talked about it last week with the deep sea guy. Remember, we were talking about the
grouper and
the Goliath groupers and the
bull shark. With that guy, that's what he caught last time.
The bull shark, yeah. But there was something else. But we'll talk the tarpon. I believe that's what Boomer caught down there last year, tarpon. So it may be a big shot invite only show, but we've got a big shot on the inside. We're going to be talking with Boomer down at ICAST, and we'll see what he can get away with telling us. He's always so nervous down there that he's going to say something that he shouldn't say, but maybe we'll trick him into it. Also, Gene Jensen, Fluke Master, will be a guest along with Boomer a little bit later on in the show. We're going to talk to our good buddy Steve Nelson of Wheaton Service, Take a Bet Fishing. I just talked to a guy recently that won one of their auctions and was going up with some guide whose name I forget for a Take a Bet Fishing Day. But they've got just a Take a Bet Fishing. It's the name of the organization, and that's simply the message here is Take a Bet Fishing. We'll talk with him. And am I going to give away our last guest?
Oh, yeah, not a big deal. Yeah, this is Asher Bloom, and Asher Bloom is a young man. He's been on the news. This is funny because Asher Bloom is about a 15, 16-year-old kid from Rochester. He went up to the Boundary Waters for the first time with his buddies. I've been up there a number of times.
Right.
And the reason I'm interested in this is because it happened to me years ago. Not to this extent. I screwed up, and we capsized our canoe.
Yeah.
But he actually got caught between the canoe and the rocks, and the pressure of the water was so strong, it was smashing his feet and his legs. He couldn't get out. They had to call for help. 6 or 7 hours like that with a canoe smashing his body against the rocks.
Oh, man.
And they literally had to fly him away in the helicopter to get him back to the hospital. He's doing fine, but can you picture that? That's how much pressure there is up there. So I will share that information in my story with you guys at the same time as well, because it could be kind of scary.
Yeah, and a wetter year up there like we've had down here, I'm sure, and that water is really rushing. Take it outdoors. Thank you to Fleet Farm, Alumacraft, Lakes Trading Company, and Custom Truck Accessories. We'll be right back. Is it Boomer coming up?
Yep.
On Take It Outdoors.
You gotta love the Twin Cities. Check out Ferrall Bench every night, 9 to 1 a.m., baby, on 105 The Ticket.
Montoya, Howard, Dixon, Rahal, Andretti, Castroneves. Great drivers, great races. The Verizon Indy Car Series on Sports Radio 105 The Ticket.
Rahal slug around Marco Andretti. Will Power the leader. Now they start to tuck in all the way to the bottom of the track. Let's turn it out.
Saturday night racing when the Indy Cars tackle Iowa Speedway for the Iowa Corn 300. Saturday night at 7 o'clock. Hear the best of the Verizon Indy Car Series on 105 The Ticket.
Summer fun begins at Mills Fleet Farm. For thrills on the water, jump on a full throttle Enforcer towable. On sale, $99.99. Save on Michelin tires. Buy 4, get a $70 MasterCard reward card. Bring home the good stuff for your pets. Get a $10 gift card when you buy select sizes of Science Diet dog or cat food. And stock up on Pine Tree Farms suet cakes. They're just 69 cents each at Mills Fleet Farm.
This is your 105 The Ticket weather for Nature's Fury. Tonight, maybe a scattered thunderstorm. Look at a low of 66 and mostly cloudy. Weird week with a cool down tomorrow, high of 69. Also a 50% chance of rain. 62 for low tomorrow night. And then Friday back up to 89 and mostly sunny, small chance of rain. The weekend also looking hot. 93 for a high on Saturday. Sunday 84. Maybe some thunderstorms on Saturday. This weather update is brought to you by Nature's Fury. You can find Nature's Fury at your local Cub Foods and select holiday stores.
The Ticket Outdoors is proud to be a partner with Lakes Trading Company. Why? Because they kick. That's why. Guns to buy, guns to shoot, guns to rent, and the best prices on ammo around. We love Lakes Trading Company because they eat, sleep, and breathe guns just like us. Looking to get a permit to carry class or renew your old permit? Don't be disappointed by a cut-rate instructor. Lakes Trading Company has top-notch instructors and on-site range and meals provided. Lakes Trading Company, off 8th Street in Forest Lake or online at lakestradingco.com.
Midsummer in Minnesota means one thing, being out in the water to enjoy the beautiful weather and 10,000 lakes with our family and friends. This is Boomer with the Ticket Outdoors, and my friends and family have been fortunate enough to spend awesome time on the water with my T-Pro 195. What a perfect fishing boat made right here in Minnesota. This boat is made for the serious fisherman and comfortable enough for the whole family. If you want to learn more about the T-Pro series of boats and the whole lineup from Alumacraft Boats, visit alumacraft.com, and thanks for listening to the Ticket Outdoors.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
Rock and roll, kids. Hey, well, we've got a second here, and everybody's getting situated here in the studio.
Yep.
If you need new tires before going on your next road trip, that's right, the big summer road trip months are right about now in August. Fleet Farm carries all the best brands, Michelin, BF Goodrich, Cooper, Roadrunner, and many, many more. Ticket Outdoors, Sunday mornings, we rerun this very program from 6 to 8, and you'll find the podcast up for the next day or two on 105theticket.com.
Hey, how come you guys get to read this thing and Boomer gets to, I don't get to read it. Just Boomer and Zeb. What the hell's wrong with me?
I thought you read this stuff all the time.
No, I think you talk enough during the show.
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Well, because you're the wild card, and this is the money. Don't mess with the money. Don't let the wild card screw that up.
I'll lose those sponsors.
Those very valuable sponsors. We thank them. Oh, yeah, we've got Boom here on the line. No, who's not doing their job? I got you.
On.
Hey, you there, buddy? We got you?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Where are you? Are you down at the poolside bar right now? What 5-star hotel have they got you set up in?
Well, we're actually staying on in a 4-room condo that is right outside the Orange County Convention Center here in beautiful Orlando, Florida. But I got to tell you guys, I'm getting tired of these sunny days and 80 to 90 degree temps. I mean, it just wears you out.
I'm going to hang up on him real quick. Well, man, so we were talking earlier, this iCast is an invite-only thing. This isn't open to the public.
No, it isn't. You know, I've been really blessed. This is my second year to be down here in Orlando for iCast. They call it the iCast 2015 Expo. And what it is, it's a mixture of all the major manufacturers in the fishing industry, all of the major retailers, the Fleet Farms, you know, Cabela's, Bass Pro, Walmart, and whatnot, and then personalities and tournament anglers. And I've been really fortunate to come down here and represent Vexfly, as you guys know, and Sonar Phone, which is their wireless sonar phone system. And I tell you what, guys, it is one of the coolest events. I mean, all of the folks that we grew up watching on TV, like Bill Dance and Jimmy Houston
Barney
and folks
Fife.
like that.
Right, Andy Griffith.
Straczynski are just walking all over the place.
Yeah, I bet they are.
Well, hey, it's the next best thing to getting invited is having somebody from Ticket Outdoors on the inside.
That's right.
You're our big shot. Now, this started, is it a week-long deal?
Yeah, you know what? It did. It actually started on Tuesday. So iCast is broken up into 2 events. And the reason it's broken up into 2 events and it's a 4-day deal is all of the major manufacturers like Under Armour, Hobie Kayaks, GoPro, I mean, all the names that we see that touch the fishing industry and bigger in the fishing industry with all their products, they're releasing their 2016 products during this show. So it's really a first time for the media and some of the major retailers to see what's going on. So we were lucky enough to go down to Lake Toho, which is in Florida, and it's known for its largemouth bass fishing, and it has some major alligators, by the way. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
All right.
But Lake Toho is one of those staple pit stops for some of the Major League Bass tours. You talk about the Bass Elites or the FLW. And they had an expo there where they had a tournament on Tuesday morning from 6 to 9. A bunch of boats launched, about 50 of them. And then they had an expo after that where, again, folks like Shimano or Vexilar, Rapala, and others were out there displaying their products. And it was really a cool deal. Well, I got the fortunate invite to get on the boat and do some product demo videos about the sonar phone and some other stuff. And I'm casting this transducer, guys, out into this big swamp is how I can describe Lake Toho, where the water surface temp is like 88 degrees because it's so flipping warm down here.
I think anybody that's spent any time in Central Florida gets it. I mean, it's swampy, it's hot, it's sticky.
Yeah, and, if you just look too fast to the left, the sweat's going to be dripping down your eardrums. But, I'm just trolling in the transducer, and again, I'm looking at my phone, and I'm looking to see if there's any hooks for bass. And I see this suspended, what I thought was a fish, about 2 feet off the bottom in about 5 feet of water. And I'm in a bass boat, so you guys know they sit really low.
Yeah.
But as you guys know, when you're looking at your electronics, or for our listeners out there, when you're looking at a walleye or a crappie or a sunfish, it's just like a little hook. Well, I started counting to like 4, and I started to get nervous because the hook didn't go away. It was still on the screen. And I'm looking at the guy, who's the fishing guide who had me out from the video work, and I said, I know this sonar phone works, but what is going on? He goes, oh yeah, that's probably about a 6.5 foot alligator right underneath our boat. And you want to talk about your eyeballs getting pretty big, guys. We don't ever have to worry about that in Minnesota, having a 6 foot alligator next to your boat.
No, you certainly, and I just saw a story, and I think it was down in Florida. That guy went to a bar, and there's a little pond by the bar, and it had a sign that said, do not swim in alligators. And they just saw a couple of large alligators in there that day, and they put the signs up, warning alligators. And he said, F that alligator, and jumped in. As soon as he hit the water, the alligator took him, killed him. That just happened last week.
Good for him.
So alligators, they can get you. I remember I went down on that hog hunt. I went down on that hog hunt down in southern Georgia, which is really just like the same territory that he's describing, the same environment in Central Florida. And we put the waders on, and we went out hog hunting because the hogs will wade out there in some areas and get on these little grounded areas out there, these little plateaus, not really like sandbars, they're moss bars. And they'll get out there and dig down in there, and they like that moss. So we're out there hunting them. Well, you know what's in a swamp. Everything's, branches and logs floating under there. And so you're walking along, everything that brushes your leg, every log floating by
is a water snake or something.
An alligator. Yeah. I'll tell you, it's a whole different breed of animal down there.
Hey, Boomer, Super Stru here. I think you're going to be proud of me, man.
What did you do, Stu? I'm going to be proud of you.
Yeah, this actually happened. I was at an open house on Sunday in White Bear Lake, and a guy comes in, and I'm talking to somebody else who I met from a while back, and he's asking about the radio show. He's an avid listener to the Ticket Outdoors. And a guy comes in with his wife, and I'd never met him before, and he hears this conversation, and he says, you do a radio show. Well, I'm one of the co-hosts of a radio show called The Ticket Outdoors, and it's a hunting and fishing show in the Twin Cities. He said, I'm from Kenosha, Wisconsin, just moved to the Twin Cities, and I'm taking my granddaughters out fishing tomorrow morning on White Bear Lake. I want to see me and catch a couple of decent northerns. What do I use? So I said, I'll tell you what. Right now, this is kind of like the dog days of when the water temperature is at least 68 degrees or something like that. I said, you got to, on the northeast corner of the lake there's a weed line. what you should do, what I like to do is use a Lindy rig with a crawler at first and try to entice them out. But you have to be between 6 and 8 feet of water right now. If you're not catching with 6 to 8, you got to go 10 to 12. If they're not biting, then use a chamois rattle trap and try to entice them to come, because you got to be right at them. I said, but I'll tell you what, that's what's going to work. Use that rattle trap, it's going to work. Boy, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, sir.
I tell you what, I had to leave a dinner here just to jump out in the truck to take this call, but you about made me fall out of my seat. And if you would have just mentioned thermocline, cabbage, and a glow jig, I think I would have had a heart attack.
Anyway, we lost a listener when he didn't catch anything later that day. So, Boomer, by the way, were you finished with that fishing story you were talking about? But you're just out there with some alligators. But you do have a chance. Last year we were talking about that you had a chance to get out for, was it some tarpon?
Yes. Now, after this trip, I'm hoping that I still get time to get down to Venice in Florida, because some of those tarpon are going to be coming in. But I have to admit something on air, guys. So I was out there working on the boats and doing some video work and some promo work. And the guys in the boats are like, dude, why don't you just get out there and why don't we just cast some plastics? And, it's just like basically a plastic minnow, guys, like a worm, a fluke jig. And I said, all right. And, of course, guess who screws up a 6-pound largemouth bass at the boat?
Not Boomer. Not Boomer.
Not the guy who's supposed to be working, and I hope Vexlar's not listening and decided to cast the pole in the water a couple times, right? About the second cast, it goes wham! And, guys, I felt like Godzilla had hit my rod, and I bend back, and I look at the guy, and I go, man, I think I'm stuck on a log or something. And then all of a sudden the rod just starts jogging out of my hands, and by the time I brought it back, I didn't get to it. But that was a really cool event, because the public did get to attend this event in Orlando where the tournament was and the expo. And this morning, guys, was actually the first day of where they opened up the Orlando Orange County Convention Center, and they had all the big dogs there with all their products. Again, tons of personalities, tons of different anglers. I tell you what, there's some really cool stuff that's going to be coming out this next year for folks to see in the fishing industry. There's some changes in some of the rod tips on a little faster action. And as you guys know, there's always new lures coming out, new crankbaits with new different colors. The tungsten jig has obviously been pretty popular because it's heavier in the ice fishing. You're starting to see some of that stuff cross over. Some of the jigs that are starting to make a little bit noise now. So it not only does it make a low pitch noise, but it makes a high pitch noise. Which is true. If someone asks you about fishing in White Bear Lake, you should just tell them, look, I know next year, I was just talking to my buddy down in Florida, they're going to have these new crankbaits that have 2 beads in the front for a low pitch noise, and then 2 beads in the ass end to make a high pitch noise. And just look at him and see what he tells you after that.
I could use those making love, man. That sounds like that's half my repertoire right there. Hey, I'll tell you what, the story you just told prior to your discussion here the last 15, 20 seconds reminds me of a guy up in northern Minnesota, a couple of weeks back, who was fishing up there and some kind of experienced fisher person and gets a fish wrapped around the dock or something and almost falls in. And, that was you, Boomer. That was you.
This is why you don't get invited to Longstraw.
That did happen to me at the Alumacraft photo shoot where I got tanked in there. Yep, because I decided to throw a jig right under the dock where there was a smallie that was bedding, and of course all the cameras were around and all the big wigs from Alumacraft, and I thought I would show off. And instead I decided to get the line wrapped around the dock and try to fall in and try to net it and make a complete ass of myself.
That's pretty good.
I appreciate you, Stu, putting me on that plate.
I love you very much. Hey, buddy, this is your second or third year at the ICAST. I can't picture new stuff. I mean, how much new can happen in 12 months?
Well, I tell you what, Stu, they're always thinking of things in the pipeline, like in any business that's out there. And as people are using their products, companies are constantly getting feedback. And in all seriousness, some of the crankbaits from Salmo that they just came out with, it's called a bass bug. And what it is, it's a product or a crankbait. It's a surface crankbait that looks like a little beetle, guys, with a treble hook. And when you're reeling it in, it's going to go below the surface at about 3 inches. Now, it's true, that might not be new here for Europe, but in the United States, we've never used it. Well, in Europe, they've had some pretty good luck. Well, it's caught on to the fact that now Salmo's introduced it into its lineup here, And a lot of the bass tournament anglers and a lot of the personalities were looking at going, man, this might be my advantage to really catching that big fish.
I wonder how big it is. Could you use it for smallies?
You know what? You absolutely could. I was talking to him about that. You know, you imagine those smallies in skinny, shallow water and about a foot, 2.5 foot half. You throw that little beetle bug. And the cool thing about this beetle bug is not only, Stu, it might not be new for us or new in Europe, but it was new for us. But one of the things about it is it's got a little weight shifter in the front. So when you whip your line back, the weight goes to the back of the lure, and then when you cast it forward, the weight moves forward, and you can cast that thing about 70 yards. Now, I'm suggesting to our listeners to do that, but you guys know we've got windy days up in Minnesota, and sometimes you never know what's going on because Zepp has told us before the weatherman's always 90% right, buddy?
Yeah, always, yeah. 9 out of 10, man, just nails it.
But, it's just things like that have came out. They've got different crankbaits where, in all seriousness, where they're giving out 2 different pitch sounds. There's electronics out there that now sit in the water and make sounds of feeding fish and feeding shad. Now, I couldn't tell you if that's what a feeding shad really sounds like, but I'm guessing they've done their homework to try to figure that stuff out.
Yeah, we're not in shad territory, but I'm always curious because I get some of those shad baits, through different promotional things, and I think, man, I really got to go try those out. But, the other thing is materials have been changing so much in the last couple of years as we move towards tungsten and different rod materials. But I'll tell you what, we're on our break right now, Boom. Let's go get Gene Jensen, Fluke Master, big, really an icon on social media on YouTube. Let's get him on with you. He's down at ICAST, I assume?
Yes, he is down here in ICAST, and guess what, guys? I actually found him at the Mystery Tackle Box booth. He's a spokesperson, the brand ambassador for them, so I got to talk with the owner a little bit, and he chuckled when I told him what radio station we were with.
Oh, that's funny. That's cool.
Why'd he chuckle?
I'll come back because I've got some of that Mystery Tackle Box. That's kind of where I was going with that shad stuff. But we'll bring that all back when we come back. More from ICAST. We've got Boomer and Gene Jensen, Fluke Master, on Ticket Outdoors.
Ticket Outdoors on 105 The Ticket.
Summer fun begins at Mills Fleet Farm. For thrills on the water, jump on a full-throttle Enforcer towable on sale, $99.99. Save on Michelin tires. Buy 4, get a $70 MasterCard reward card. Bring home the good stuff for your pets. Get a $10 gift card when you buy select sizes of Science Diet dog or cat food. And stock up on Pine Tree Farms suet cakes. They're just 69 cents each at Mills Fleet Farm.
If you love the outdoors, then you probably have a truck that you love too. Custom Truck Accessories can help protect your truck from the rigors of outdoor activities. They have custom seat covers and floor mats to protect against the mud and dirt from the field. Toppers and tonneau covers to protect your gear. If you're a truck guy, you'll appreciate the knowledge and experience of the Custom Truck Accessories crew. Visit CustomTruckAccess.com or stop by their store to see what a difference being family-owned can make for you.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
All right, we're getting Gene. We've got Boomer, people on the telly down there at ICAST. Mark Lukey's doing his producer thing right now. Boom, we've got you. I know you've got a dinner to get off to, and it looks like we just dropped the line. We might not have Gene quite yet, but that's all right. We can shuck and jive. What do you got there, producer? Tell what?
Tell Boomer to call in, and I got to call him on the other line.
Okay.
You know what?
Yeah,
I can move on from here, guys. Once you guys get Gene on, he will rock and roll. This is the guy that is the largest fishing channel on YouTube and has over 30 to 40,000 views a day. So, Drew, drill him. Don't give him any celebrity.
No,
status,
I've already checked into him already, and I tell you what, he'll be a lot of fun because he's nuts. I think all of you guys are nuts, but he seems really crazy. He'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, guys. Well, you guys have a wonderful time, and I will see you guys next Wednesday.
Be safe, buddy.
We'll get the full rundown next Wednesday with you, Boom. Have fun, buddy. Hey, one word. Thanks, while guys. You're down there at a big event like that out of town. One word for you. Just Tinder. That's all I'm going to say.
We got some stories, Zep.
Have fun, buddy.
No. When you order your ribeye, it's got to be tender, okay? Not well done. It's got to be tender.
That's what I said, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you did, yeah.
Did you hear?
That's right. I forget Tinder's still around, isn't it? I should try that just for the hell of it sometime.
I think that's what the kind of the big deal with it. I really don't know. I mean, as a kind of a lark, we looked at it one night and kind of screwed around with it, but it's not something that a man my age is going to use. I'm old school.
Let's figure this out, Zep. You and I, we don't need that crap.
No,
we don't need that crap.
That's for the desperate young man.
That's right.
But I hear that's the thing when you're out of town. That's how it started. When you're out of town, the Olympians. That's how the whole thing kind of got started. Anyway, we're trying to get Gene Jensen, the Fluke Master, on here from ICAST. So we'll do that. Steve Nelson from Wheaton Service going to be on a little bit later. Asher Bloom wrapping up the show with kind of a big fun story that he has.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I was listening to you on the different station down the hallway on the way here most of the time in the afternoon, like I always do.
Yes,
you
sir.
almost have me turn into a rock fan now. I'm still the kind of country guy, but today I was surprised you played Van Halen playing Roy Orbison.
You read Pretty Woman.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, it did sound pretty good, didn't it?
I want to if you got some rock stars doing Blake Shelton or something, I'll be a full-time listener to the KQRS in the morning.
That was a great time, I think, to introduce Gene Jensen, Fluke Master, live from ICAST. Gene, welcome to Ticket Outdoors.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, well, thanks for being on. You're a big shot.
He's
you
a big
too.
shot.
I just got subscribed to his channel on YouTube, and I felt like an idiot because everybody is subscribed to Gene Jensen, Fluke Master, on YouTube. But I'm a little bit late to the party, which is normally the case. However, once I arrived at the party,
he's a lot of fun.
Look out, Gene. So, how long have you had this YouTube channel going? You've got a heck of a lot of videos on there.
I've been doing it seriously for, I guess, 3.5 years, maybe 4 years now. So it's been a great journey so far.
I detect a drawl in your voice, Gene. Where are you from?
I grew up in Georgia, and was born in Virginia, and my mom was a speech teacher from Massachusetts, and she beat most of the Southern accent out of every once in a while.
One of those good Northeast gals. I was born in PA. I know the New England area very well, and spent some time living in Salem. And you call Georgia home these days?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and your buddy Boomer said you had never grown up, Gene, so don't BS us about that. No, you've never grown up.
That's true. That's very true.
That's good, though.
Before we grill you on all the secrets of ICAST, since we're not big shots, we don't get invited down to it. I know you can't tell us everything. But, Gene, let's talk about your Fluke Master channel on YouTube, which is, every time you click on a video, it's got 64,000 views. It has 165,000 views. So you're well followed on there. A lot of great bass tips on there as well. I'm a bass guy stuck in Minnesota, so
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I enjoy a bunch of the videos. How long have you had Fluke Master on YouTube?
It's a 4-year deal so far. It's grown. It almost doubles annually, really. And I saw a need for somebody to teach people how to fish.
Yeah.
And nobody was doing it. Everybody was like, "Hey, watch me fish and hey, buy my stuff." And nobody. And I've been a scoutmaster for going on 16 years. And see all these young men that don't have dads or granddads to teach them how to fish. And I was like, you know what? YouTube's out there. They're watching it. Let me make some videos. So I taught myself how to produce and edit videos.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you talk about teaching people how to fish. This is Steve Straczynski. Thanks for being on the Ticket Outdoors. We really do appreciate it. We're going to give you all kinds of crap, but we're going to be serious about thanking you for being on the air. That's serious. Talking about teaching, I did happen to, I've seen a number of your videos, and it's a lot of fun because they're not 2 hours or 15 minutes or 10 or 5, but I did learn how to tie the FG knot. And the FG knot is about the coolest thing in the world to tie 2 lines together, because I always use square knots my entire life.
No.
But honest to God, the FG knot is a slick deal.
Yeah, it is. It is the skinniest little line-to-line knot that I've ever seen, and I've only been tying it for about 2 months. Well, but I've never had it fail, so it's wonderful.
Pretty cool.
For our listeners, it's Fluke Master, all one word. Go to YouTube and just hit subscribe, and then it shows up for you all the time. And Gene, that's one of the things as I was kind of scanning through it, I liked. It's not just, sometimes we got our buddy Boomer. I don't even know what he's talking about half the time. It's a different language. But you can go on there and learn simple things like different knots, or jerk baits, or anything from beginner to getting a little more in depth. Just seem like you do really kind of focus on the bass. Although there is some exotic fishing on there. I saw something, some shark fishing I saw in one of the videos.
Yeah, peacock bass with Peter Miller down here in Florida. I did that a couple years ago. It was fun. So yeah, I've done a lot of oddball things. I'm known. I guess if I had to put a kind of a parameter about who I am, I'm just an average Joe that knows how to fish, and I want to teach everybody what I know. So, and that's kind of how I come across. I'm me. I'm not fake. If I was fake, it wouldn't last very long.
Gene,
you're right.
I think everybody, when you say YouTube, they go, well, anybody can put anything on YouTube. We can, I can sit there and drink a beer on my deck and put it on YouTube. And it's true. You can post anything on YouTube, but when you blow up like yours has blown up, and I don't know how many subscribers you have. Like I said, there are some really big numbers when you look at the views of each one of these, and it seems to be page after page of these videos that you've been putting up for 4 years. I'm always a firm believer, people talk about in radio and the competition we have with, satellite radio and streaming now. People will listen to what they want to listen to. They'll view what they want to view. Now we have a lot more options, but just because it's on YouTube doesn't mean I'm going to watch it. And just because it's on TV doesn't mean I'm going to watch it. It just means we have more options, but you're a hit when you're a hit. And that's what I liked about you. Don't talk over anybody's head. You're a good old boy having fun. After watching 3 videos, I thought to myself, how do I get to go fishing with Gene Jensen? I want to go fishing with this guy. And it sounds like from the comments, you have a really good group of guys and fellows that follow you. Do you get a chance to interact with them at all?
Yes, all the time. I'm very loyal, and kind of one of the tricks of the trade is respond to everything they ask and everything they say, and it's more or less, I'm not separated from them. I'm part of them. And by being part of them, I'm able to, basically communicate with them better. And so, I don't consider myself a pro. There's other people who call me that. I just consider myself somebody who wants to teach you guys how to fish.
Well, Gene, talk about that, being a pro. Have you, I don't know much about your background. Let our listeners know. Have you been a pro fisherman? Do you?
Never.
Never have.
Good for you. Wow.
Yeah. I'm a military trained X-ray tech.
A military X-ray trained. What branch?
Yeah. I was in the Army for 6 years, way back in the day. So
I didn't even know Army. I was in the Army. I didn't even know we had MOSs that smart. I thought we just borrowed them all from the Air Force or something.
When I signed up, there was only 10 openings in the whole U.S. Army, so that's not very big.
Well, good for you for getting one of them, and thank you for your service to our country.
Hey, Gene, I have to congratulate you. You guys may not know this, but on April 14th, Gene caught his largest bass, largemouth bass ever, and it was 9 years between the 9-pounder he caught, whatever it was, and April 14th, he got a 10 and a quarter-pound largemouth. 9 years in making. Proud. Good for you, buddy. Good for you.
Something here we
That's
can.
a big fish, boy.
Something we can all respect here in Minnesota, and I think this was one of the older videos. 2 or 3 years ago, you got a 2.5-pound bluegill, I think.
Well, let me qualify that one.
That's nuts.
One of the lakes I used to guide on is a private 250-acre lake in North Carolina that's known as the world's greatest bluegill lake.
Cheating. You're a cheater.
50 feeders on that lake that feed twice a day. And so the average bluegill is 1.5 pounds to 1.75 pounds, and 1 out of 20 will be 2 pounds plus. So,
holy buckets.
Well, we can respect that. We can salute that down there. So, Gene, how far out do you go? I mean, do you have a chance to do you get out of the Southeast at all and do any fishing?
I try as much as possible. I'm trying to make this a full-time gig, and maybe in 10 months from now, I won't be shooting X-rays and won't have a 40-hour-a-week job, and I'll be able to travel more and have more leeway of where I'm going and things like that. I like to go to Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee. I keep fishing licenses from all those states, and in South Carolina and North Carolina.
Are you married? You got a family?
Yeah, I got four kids, 3 boys and a girl, and I'm married. Been married for 16 years.
No wonder you fish so much.
Yeah, but trying to make the jump from a 40-hour-a-week job where you have benefits and all that to a full-time fisherman and stay married, and your wife gives you the look all the time. That's got to be a pretty tough accomplishment.
Yeah, well, she stopped giving me the look when I started making money doing that.
Attaboy.
So this is it for you, Gene, Fluke Master. This is your livelihood now.
Yes, for the most part it is. Yep.
And then tell me how. And you've got to come up here and do some walleye shows. Have you ever been to the Midwest?
Yeah, I came up for the Lumacraft photo shoot last month with Boomer. That's where I met Boomer, and so I came up there, caught my first walleye, which was on my bucket list. Then I guided Boomer out to a nice little deep point that had some grass on it. How big was that fish, Boomer? Is he still on?
No, he's not.
No, he had to run off to a dinner.
I think it was like a 20-something, 27-inch. I just got finished eating, but I think it was a 27-inch, a nice big walleye.
Yeah.
So I just used my bass skills on being able to find deep fish.
Wait, you put Boomer on a 27-inch walleye?
Yes, don't tell him.
I'll tell you.
He didn't say, we saw the picture of that fish, but he never mentioned that you were the man who got him on the fish. Hey, I also want to congratulate you. You're part of the Lumacraft team now, right?
Yes, that was amazing. They called me 2 days after I told my wife that my boat was continually trying to sink, and that I was going to need to go back into debt. And we just got out of debt, and trying to get this thing rolling. And they called me and they said, "Dude, we like what you're doing. How'd you like to represent us?" And I said, "Oh, sure."
Well, does it piss you off that now it says here you're the big shot, you're the YouTube guy? Does it piss you off that YouTube guy? But you're driving a Pro 185, and Boomer, who is a nobody so far, has got a 195, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, but his is a V-hull. I think those don't work on my waters.
Oh, okay. There you go.
It's something a little flatter for those bass down there. Gene Jensen, Fluke Master. I'll tell you what, if you've got a chance and you're not behind the wheel, go to YouTube, subscribe to Fluke Master. Go ahead and give that a follow while we take a quick break, and then we're going to come back. We do have Gene, by the way, boys and girls, out at ICAST, and we want to talk about what you're seeing down at ICAST when we come back with Ticket Outdoors.
Try a dose of Gio and Jones. We're on weekday mornings until 8 a.m. on Minnesota Sports Radio 105 The Ticket.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, only on 105 The Ticket.
Joey Logano just squeezed out into the lead. McMurray's blocking the second. Matt Kenseth and Kevin Harvick side by side for third.
Sunday, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series head to the Magic Mile, New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Camping World RV Sales 301. Tune in Sunday at 11:30 a.m.
That's the battle for the lead in turn one.
This is Brad Keselowski. This is Dale Earnhardt Jr. This is Jeff Gordon.
This is Jimmy Johnson. This is Kevin
Your
Harvick.
home for NASCAR in the Twin Cities is Sports Radio 105 The Ticket.
Summer fun begins at Mills Fleet Farm. For thrills on the water, jump on a full throttle Enforcer towable on sale, $99.99. Save on Michelin tires. Buy 4, get a $70 MasterCard reward card. Bring home the good stuff for your pets. Get a $10 gift card when you buy select sizes of Science Diet dog or cat food. And stock up on Pine Tree Farms suet cakes. They're just 69 cents each at Mills Fleet Farm.
Steve Straczynski here of Coldwell Banker Burnett. It's time, my friend. If you're a Ticket Outdoors fan, then you're also a fan of hunting and fishing. I've got 29 years in real estate licensed in both Minnesota and Wisconsin, and I'll consider it a privilege to help you find that perfect lake home or the 40-acre piece of heaven that's hiding a Boone and Crockett right now. Hey, check me out on Facebook or email stru@stru.com. It's your money. Thanks. And thanks for having fun with us on the Ticket Outdoors.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105 The Ticket.
I want to thank our sponsors, Fleet Farm. Hey, don't forget, we're getting into the big family road trip season now. August is a big time for that. Fleet Farm carries all the best brands, Michelin, BF Goodrich, Cooper, Roadrunner, and many more. Hey, put them on my truck. Thank you. Alumacraft, Lakes Trading Company up in Forest Lake. We've got those new shooting lanes open up there, and they're doing that triple shooting up there. We got to talk about that some more. Custom truck accessories right up Highway 65, and Wednesday night is their big mud truck show and swap meet. That's happening right now.
I'll tell you what we should do sometime with the custom truck accessories. Yeah. We should go up there and run their show. They should come down and do ours so we know what the hell's going on up there.
I love doing this show, man, but I really want to get up there for the mud truck show and the swap meet. Get a couple of things for the truck.
A lot of fun.
They got it all at Custom Truck Accessories. Our guest is Gene Jensen. He's Fluke Master. If you go to YouTube, he's one of these YouTube sensations, and sensation is almost an understatement for this guy. Gene, I heard or read on the internet, or maybe Boomer said it to me somewhere along the line. I picked up the notion that you have the largest subscription level of any fishing channel on YouTube.
Yeah, any freshwater fishing at this point. So yeah.
Now, I mean, all the big shots are on there. I mean, a lot of professional guides. Have you ever done any professional guiding?
I did up until I got too busy making videos. I did for 4 years for a private company, and then did a little bit on the side. And then when I didn't feel like I could follow through with my promises, I said, I need to stop and just focus on videos.
Why do you think Fluke Master took off so big? I mean, help me understand YouTube a little bit, because I mean, do you advertise that, or is it just one of those? You're just a cool dude.
Well, we've I preach this big time, but we have reached the point in time where a single individual can become a better marketing platform than a corporation, and somebody who understands social media marketing and understands the ins and outs of that, and then understands people can become pretty big on it. And I think that's where I've started to grow, and I'm genuine. I just want to do what I love to do, and that's teach people how to fish.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, it doesn't hurt that every video you click on, you got a big, huge, largemouth on there, a striped bass of some sort.
No, but I'll tell you what's important as well. Apparently, you're not afraid to make fun of yourself as well. I've seen a few of the videos, and that's the name of the game, because you're real. You're not pretending like you're some big shot. You just grew up like the rest of the world as well. But how do you start when you're doing the YouTube thing? We'll talk about iCast in a couple of seconds. Okay, you make your first video, then what? And all of a sudden, you are where you are, and where are you going to go from here?
You have to be patient. I didn't see any significant growth for 2.5 years. And I just started making videos, and eventually people start watching, and it's just a very slow process. And your expected growth annually is probably about 26%, and then when you really start growing, it should be about 100 to 120%.
Well, and we hear about things going viral, and so when something catches on, it can grow. I mean, it can spread like a ditch fire. Gene, you're down. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but viral videos are like one hit wonders.
Right. Yeah.
And so if you're consistent and you continually make videos, you'll grow, and you'll end up doing better off than just a viral videos. Do
you wonder sometimes when you do a video and you've got 29,000 views as opposed to 129,000 views, do you know what the difference is there?
Sometimes. You kind of try to pick and choose and guess and experiment with each video and see what works and what doesn't work, and then hopefully you don't repeat what doesn't work. So.
Fluke Master Gene Jensen, you've got an invite down at iCast. You must be a big shot down there. Tell us about iCast 2015. What's got Gene Jensen excited?
What excites me is, and it always excites me, is these smaller companies that are trying to break into the industry. A company called Greenfish Tackle, and I'm with a company called Biospawn Lures. And it just so happens I did catch that 10-pound bass on the Biospawn lure a week after I signed a contract with.
I think you caught it on the Biospawn Vilecraw, right?
The Vilecraw.
Good job, Drew.
and so you watch these small rod and reel companies and these little guys that have exhausted their retirement and everything else trying to get their companies off the ground, and they make great products, and they're just trying to get on. And there's a lot of that here this year, from rods and reels all the way to tackle companies. It's just amazing to watch. And then 5 years down the road, see how much they've grown or where they've made their mistakes. It's just, that's what I enjoy.
Those are one of the things I try to look at when we have a hard water expo, or even if I'm just kind of shopping around at Thorne Brothers or at Mills. I try and look for some of those lures that, or rods perhaps, or reels, or some accessories that are from a smaller company and just kind of got tucked in the store there. Kind of see what they're all about, and maybe give them a shot, and I'll grab something off the rack. Just go out and give it a chance for that very same reason. Obviously, Gene, you can relate. There's been a big thing, Stru was asking Boomer earlier, what else can be possibly new in fishing? We've had it all. But I think a big thing we've seen in the past 5 years especially is a change in materials. Tungsten, from not only baits, but, and lures rather, but rods as well. And that continues to happen. Rods get stronger, but yet have more feel somehow.
It's like golf clubs, right? Just lighter but stronger and faster. But
lighter, stronger, faster. Another thing I'm seeing a lot of is a lot of these tackle companies are starting to design their baits and have them done on 3D printers, and then they're taking those and making molds with that whatever got made out of the 3D printer, and you're getting a lot more finer detail on the baits.
Yeah, that's crazy because you're designing it on a computer, and then much like you just hit print.
It's crazy,
and you have a bait. Yeah, that blows my mind.
Yeah, and BioSpawn is leading that charge, and there's a couple other companies I talked to today that are getting into that because you can design a bait now in 30 minutes.
Hey, Gene, where does the name Fluke Master come from?
It was way back in 2001 when I first started getting into the internet. Okay, I figured out what the internet was, and I needed to come up with a screen name for these fishing forums that I was trying to learn stuff on. And I was just a bank fisherman, a newlywed, and so I just made up the name as kind of a motivator because there's the Zoom Super Fluke, and I'm really good fishing it, but I had just figured out what that was. And then when it came time to figure out what my brand was for my YouTube channel as it started to grow, I did the old Google AdWords thing and checked and see what people were searching to find my videos. And the first was fishing, then bass fishing, and then Fluke Master. And I said, okay, I guess they choose what my...
There you go.
Fluke Master it is. Good thinking. Gene, I suppose ICAST is a big deal for you. You've done so many videos, and I know we've had like Babe Winkleman on, and how many television shows has that guy done in his life? And you think to yourself, when do you run out of ideas? I mean, we're 2 years into this, and we're all ready to quit. We don't know who to do. No, I'm kidding. But as far as ideas, and you're pretty, specifically, bass and bluegill and striped bass, and I mean, you're pretty specific on the species of fish and type of fish and area you're fishing. You've got to think to yourself, what's next? So you find a lot of that at ICAST.
Yeah, I do find a lot of that at ICAST. I saw Babe this morning. Matter of fact, he was down here.
Yeah.
Waiting in line with me. But anyway, it was, I guess what's next for me is whatever the bass teach me or whatever the fish teach me. And they don't read the rule books. So, I've been out 4 times here in the South. Our water temperature's in the mid-90s.
Holy buckets.
And we're catching them 30 feet deep, 20 to 30 feet deep, and they teach me something every single day. And I haven't caught a fish in 3 trips.
Oh, that's why you say that. You know, I mean, that's what I like about that. Oh my gosh, 90-degree water temperature.
Hey, Gene, let's talk about BioSpawn. Since you're on the air for us, and we appreciate having you on the air.
Yep.
BioSpawn, is it only down in the southern eastern part of the United States, or?
Actually, they're based out of Chicago, Illinois. And
it's all bass fishing stuff, right?
And it's all bass fishing. They're brand new. They only have 4 baits. Actually, they just introduced their 5th one today. So they have 5. They're going to have 5 baits out on the market, and it's a soft plastic company owned by the same guy who owns a company called Mystery Tackle Box.
Yeah.
And I make a lot of videos for them.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know if we could talk about them or not.
They're Mystery Tackle Box, the MTB Slam that I do. That was my brainchild. I'll stand up on a high rise and shout that. I'm very proud of that.
Good for you. That is a wonderful idea.
I'll tell you, it was one of my favorite things ever, Mystery Tackle Box. And I know I interrupted you, but real quick, while we're on it, I haven't taken some of them out. You can't keep up. You get all the soft plastics. I love the cranks, but I was talking with Boomer earlier. I like to go out and do my own little show, and I'll just, one bait after another and just pitch them. And if I catch something, great. But I'm really out there just to flip it. To see how it, how does it sink? Does it go to 6 feet down? Is it going 3 inches down like it's supposed to? Is it a good top crank bait? Can I hear it? Does it have good sound? And, I just love it. And then every month, you walk out there and there's a box in the mail. I'm serious. You're a kid. I'm running back to the house. I'm throwing the mail, on the table and sitting down and opening up and going, look at this one. So it's a pretty cool deal.
Fun.
How are they doing? Are they?
Do what now?
How's Mystery Tackle Box doing?
Oh, they're growing tremendously. I think they sent out 30,000 boxes this last week.
Have they gotten into now? When we talked to them way back when, they had talked about maybe kind of getting into the walleye or some different fish species baits. Anything?
Yep, They've got a panfish box, an inshore fishing box. I think they just came out with a walleye box. I can't remember. I don't pay much attention to those northern fish. Sorry, guys. But they're spreading their wings, and they're getting, and as they get more of these companies to sign on with them, they're able to open up and do more different boxes. And it's amazing. I mean, and I have fun just opening one up on the box and putting something on, each lure in the box and trying to catch fish on everything that's in there. That's a blast. And try to get it on video.
It just puts a different spin when you go out to your fishing hole, because now you're the tester. Now I'm the guy that's testing the baits, because I've got all these cranks that I didn't go out and shop for. Somebody just, they came in the box, so I want to go out and give them a flip. And they're not all, their jigs come in there, and you get a variety of everything, a lot of soft plastics in there as well. And some I found that really worked, that I went out and went, well, I got to go get some more of these big bites. But so anyway, I will just say mysterytacklebox.com, because it's a cool gift for
It really is.
Nobody ever wants to shop for an angler, but you can get them this, and they'll be happy every month of the year.
There is a short little 25-second video on my YouTube channel of I hid my camera, my GoPro, in the back of my mailbox when my boys came out to get theirs.
Kids Mystery Tackle Box, excitement or entertainment or something like that?
And it is an amazing video, and it shows you how excited the kids are. The kids love to get a box with their name on it every month.
And we're just big kids. We do, too.
Absolutely.
All right, so, there I went again, and we're running out of time. Now we only have about a minute or two, and I forgot where I interrupted you.
Well, I'll tell you what you interrupt,
Gene?
but I want to ask him this question, because we only have a minute or two, like you said. I always ask all of our guests there, Gene, who are the big shots, growing and climbing the ladder, what's on your bucket list? Okay, you're doing real well down there. What's on your bucket list for the next fishing trip?
Well, Boomer put ice fishing on my bucket list.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to happen this winter.
Fun.
Yeah, maybe you can get some fish for Boomer up here.
Yeah.
Again.
Yep. And I want a hand line Goliath grouper. I was going to do that this weekend, but I've got to go back. I got to go back home and work. I actually had it lined up and everything. So
yeah, our guest last week, we were talking about a guy. I think they were hand lining, but they were
600-pounder, whatever that thing was.
Yeah, they brought out. I think they were in their Kobe or whatever with that deal. Yep. We run out of time. Gene Jensen, Fluke Master down at ICAST. As we often do here, we've got about 100 more questions we wanted to ask you, but I want to encourage our listeners to go. It's a lot of bass, but it's very entertaining. It's a lot of fun. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of stuff on there like knots, how to read, different fish finders,
Yeah. There's a great crappie fishing video too, if you guys love crappie. So
Gene Jensen, Fluke Master on YouTube.
And let's have him in the studio when he comes up ice fishing with Boomer, huh?
Yes, sir.
You bet we will. Hey, Gene, thanks a lot for spending some time on Ticket Outdoors.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Happy fishing.
Okay, you too.
All right, there he goes, Gene Jensen, Fluke Master. That was a lot of fun.
Nice man.
And and I want to watch a lot more of the videos. Like I said, but there's literally hundreds of them on there. So, Steve Nelson, Wheaton Services, take a vet fishing when we come back with Ticket Outdoors.
Ticket Outdoors on 105 The Ticket.
Musicians, it's Guitar Center's July clearance. Save huge on over $20 million in clearance inventory. Leftover special buys, demos, open box, warehouse finds, and more. Incredible price drops store-wide. $8 million in markdowns on guitars, amps, drums, keyboards, and tech. Over 300,000 items marked down. Massive savings on brands like Fender, Gibson, Yamaha, DW, Korg, Shure, and more. But remember, each location and GuitarCenter.com has its own selection, and it's first come, first served. Guitar Center spring clearance kicks off tomorrow.
When you need someone to listen, a lawyer you know and trust.
Boating season is here, and many of you will be hauling a boat to the lake this summer. At Bradshaw & Bryant, we encourage you to keep yourself and others safe by obeying the laws of the lakes. Keep in mind that children under 10 are required to wear a life jacket at all times. It's also good to make sure that everything on the boat is in working order before heading out into the water. Alcohol causes thousands of boating injuries every year. Remember, the captain is responsible for the crew and cannot be over the legal limit. And please, not only be aware of other boaters in the water, but keep an eye out for water skiers, tubers, and jet skiers. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. Please do your part to keep yourself and others safe on the lakes this summer.
You can find Mike Bryant of Bradshaw & Bryant at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. Mike Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Bradshaw & Bryant.
Call 800-770-7008.
You save big money. You save big money when you shop Menards.
Check
Check out the great deals on paint and stain now during Menards Priced Right sale. You'll find the best brands, best quality, and best price period. Give your home a brand new look with top quality paint by Dutch Boy. Max Bond exterior paint provides superior coverage on chalky, glossy, dirty, and previously painted surfaces. Plus, Max Bond features a no prep, no prime formula that will save you time and money. Now during Menards Priced Right sale, save $7 on a gallon after sale price and rebate. That's $35 on 5-gallon pails. Stop in today for this and many more great deals. Now during Menards Priced Right sale. And while you're shopping, don't forget to register for your chance to win a Chevy Camaro convertible.
Save big money at Menards.
From the Mills Fleet Farm Studios, WGDX Lakeville, WRXP Cambridge, WGBZ Eden Prairie, a Cumulus station.
Like the taste of fresh apples? Try an Angry Orchard hard cider. At Angry Orchard, we believe in tradition. That's why we use apples from a 100-year-old orchard. It takes 2 apples to make each bottle of Angry Orchard. So raise a glass to a time when apples worked in a pint glass. Angry Orchard, when you're looking for something a little different. Crisp, refreshing, and not too sweet. Just like me. Angry Orchard hard cider. Branch out.
Angry Orchard Cider Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Drink responsibly.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
Ticket Outdoors. We rerun this same program on this very frequency you're listening to, whichever one it is, 1, 3, or 7, after the decimal, on Sunday mornings from 6 to 8 o'clock, and the podcast available sometime the next day or two, right, Mark?
Usually I screwed up this week, but usually it's a day or two.
105theticket.com. Thanks again to Gene Jensen, Fluke Master on YouTube. We're going to bring our good buddy Steve Nelson. Been a while since we talked to you. Wheaton Service over on Traverse. Take a Vet Fishing. You guys have a big event over there in Big Stone, Traverse area. Steve, welcome back to Ticket Outdoors.
You bet. How's it going today?
We're doing good here. You know, it's kind of a relaxed, nice Wednesday evening. You and I were just talking off the air a second ago about some cooler weather is starting to come in, although today wasn't too bad here. How's the weather out there?
Boy, it was a scorcher, about 91 degrees.
Oh.
And then the wind went and quit for a little while on the lake today. It got hot.
We usually get it about a day after you. I'm from Woolsey, South Dakota, so we usually get it about a day. So I'll look at the weather often, at the forecast. I'll look at Woolsey, South Dakota, and eastern South Dakota to see what we're going to get. It's about 7 out of 10 times we usually get it, but we're going to get the cooler weather tomorrow. But that's that colder air moving in from the north, and it's going to get us all tomorrow.
Just rolled through, so that's nice.
That feels good, doesn't it? And that affects water temperatures a little bit and how we fish a little bit. I've liked the cooler temperatures this year. It's kept it a little shallower for me. I don't have a big fancy boat, so I have to go to bridges and stuff like that. I can't get out to the deeper water sometimes. So this cooler summer, in a large way, has not pushed the fish as deep as fast. But now here we go into July, warmer temperatures, and there they go, way out in the deeps.
Yeah, you know, it's been pretty steady weather about the last week, hot, and the fish have been hot too, but I bet this little cold front will stop that for a while.
Yeah, most likely. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, the reason we have Steve on is he contacted me a while ago, and he said he wanted to hold an event called Take a Vet Fishing, and I thought it was really cool, and unfortunately we couldn't make it down there, but Steve, tell us how your first Take a Vet Fishing day went. How many people did you have there, and what could they expect for next year?
Well, we had a total of 5 people this year. We had 11 coming, but 6 had backed out throughout the night because of the hot weather. Mm-hmm. And they didn't think they'd be able to be out on a boat when it's going to be 90, 91, 92. And then, you know, I believe that there would have been a lot of problems when that wind quit. It got so hot. You know, us that were out there, we got pretty burnt up, you know, but the walleyes were absolutely on fire.
Nice. In the middle of the day and everything, too?
Yeah, middle of the day, and they're we don't know what they're eating because there's nothing in them, and I don't know, the bug hatch is done, but we're pulling plugs, and we didn't have any problems finding them.
So you had a big fish fry this evening. You had plenty of fish to go around, I take it?
Oh, I'm so hungry right now.
We did. We cooked up, I don't know how much fish we cooked up. 10 pounds of fillets, maybe. I don't know.
I got to go home and eat a ham sandwich.
Yeah.
Grief, I'm ready for a fish fry.
Putting fish in the fridge, and somebody goes, are you going to warm it up? Well, I don't need to warm up no fish tomorrow morning. I love cold fish.
Yeah,
absolutely. I do too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everybody caught fish. We got some pictures. I'm having problems downloading some pictures, so we probably won't have anything online until tomorrow. But it was a great day. Nice. Mother Nature worked with us, a little warm. The fish worked with us. Everything worked out perfect.
What's the big catch? What are you guys catching most out there this time of year?
Walleyes.
Yeah, walleye.
I mean, it's such a fishery, and the DNR has stocked it so much the last 2 years that the next few years should be phenomenal.
Now, you're talking about the fishery. What fishery are we talking about?
Lake Travers.
Okay. All right. I knew that, but the listeners didn't, so that's great.
Yeah, what have they stuck in there in the last 2 years? Like 15 million walleyes to make up for a little Corps of Engineer mistake dropping the lake.
What size are those walleye now? How big of a walleye are you pulling out of there on average?
There's a lot of these 8 to 12 inches being caught, but today we were pretty much in that 18 to 19 and a half inch range for walleyes, and a couple smaller 11, 12 inches we had to keep because they sucked the plug in there and it got in their gills, and I just won't throw them away. I'll keep it as part of my limit,
Hey, Steve, how quickly does a walleye grow?
Well, I think that in this lake here, in Lake Travers, I believe that they grow to 17 inches in 3 years. That's what I believe.
Wow.
Because of the diet.
Okay. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a little bit stranger.
It's a phenomenal fishery.
The weird thing about Lake Travis is it's so shallow. I'm used to fishing up, Canada for walleyes, and you're jigging 20, 30 feet down. But Travis is such a shallow lake, and when Boomer took me in, and I've caught some big fish out of there, it's just a different setup for me. Kind of tell me how do you fish the Lake Traverse that it's kind of a shallow, rocky, kind of like a river?
Yeah, it is. I look at it as a river, and you got to fish structure. Fish relate to structure. They're going to go to the rock piles and eat. There's no weeds in our lake. The fish go to the rocks. That's where the minnows go to hide. And now we have this big mayfly hatch around the 1st of July. And, I mean, it's a pretty intense mayfly hatch. Mm-hmm. And then where do the mayflies end up when they die? They blow into the rocks on the other side of the lake. And that's where you need to go fish. And it's phenomenal. I get a kick out of it when people don't chase them up against the rocks, but get over by them rocks. That's where the fish are, and that's where we were today. I mean, at times I was in 4 feet of water, and we're catching 18-inch walleyes.
4 feet of water you're fishing out there?
Yeah, my boat's in about 9, and I got the planer board up in that 4 foot up in the rocks, and that's where they're sitting, right in them rocks.
You don't even need electronics for that, right?
No, just a GPS, so you know where the rock piles are at.
Right, exactly, just so you know the contour of the lake. Tell us a bit about the body of water up there. How many acres?
13,000 acres. It's a man-made reservoir. It's controlled by the Corps of Engineers. It flows north to the Red River on the north end of the lake, and on the south end of the lake flows out into Big Stone Lake, forming the Minnesota River.
Hey, Steve, you mentioned that you benefited by the Corps of Engineers screwing up. Tell us that story.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say if anybody in St. Louis, Missouri can even tell us what's going on in our lake, at any time of the year. But a couple of years ago when we didn't have any snow, which was last year we didn't, but we had that extreme cold, and we got 40 inches of ice here. And where we're at in the world, we shouldn't get 40 inches of ice. And they just opened up the spillway to start draining water to the north on March 23rd when the season was still open, and February 23rd, and they just dropped her down. Well, a lot of our lake is only 3.5 feet deep, and you got 40 inches of ice. You set her on the bottom.
Wow.
And they did, and there was a lot of phone calls made, and it took a kind of an act of Congress to get them to shut that spillway, and they finally did. But by the time they did, they had wiped out the north end of the lake. And last year was really poor, but they really dumped a lot of fish in there, and they did again this year. But man, there is a lot of walleyes in this pond.
Steve Nelson, Wheaton Service up in Wheaton, and we're talking about Traverse Lakes, Big Stone area. How's the pike up there? Didn't you guys used to do pretty well with pike up there, especially in the winter?
Yeah, they opened spearing last winter, and we had a phenomenal year for northern pike spearing.
Yeah, that spearing season was pretty cool. Now, you guys had the spearing shacks and the spears, and you could come up and do the whole thing. I think that's the last time we talked to you. How'd that turn out?
It was fantastic. There were a lot of people took some nice fish, and when we start advertising for winter, people will be impressed with the fish that we're going to put on for our advertising. There were several fish over 20 pounds, up to about 26 was the biggest. But that one that was 26 pounds, if that thing would have made it to run in the river, it probably would have been in that 34-pound range, a monster, you know.
Just a beautiful fish, too.
We've gotten into some nice ones, but we put them back this summer because, well, we kind of want them for winter. We want them for our winter clients.
So you really don't try to fish them out at all in the summer?
I target them. I fish with some really big sucker minnows on a bobber, looking for them when they start to eat in June there. And we've gotten some nice ones, but to me, in June, they're not as big as I want them to be. I'll wait till the middle of the winter. They got a lot of more weight back on them.
Pretty hard to do a catch and release when you get a spearfish in the back, you know. Little catch and release. Boomer would go crazy.
Good.
Steve, how's that? You know, you talked about a hot weather and a hot bite and Traverse being a shallow lake like that. How does that work because we get into the dog days here, and I suppose here at the end of July and August, I don't know if we're going to get it here in Minnesota because some of the mild summer we've had, but how's that affect you guys up there when you get to those dog days of fishing?
It's, I'll be honest with you. How do we fish them? The lake gets pretty green up here in the summertime because it's shallow in the runoff. But when we get these big mats of green, I'll be honest with you, I boat right through them because that's where the fish are at.
Yeah.
They're in the shade, Otherwise, the water temperature gets pretty warm, but the fish are looking for shade, and you get that big mat of green, go through it because that's where they're at.
Right, and I mean, that's got to be the upside of not having a lot of different depths is you just kind of fish at the same. You're just going to the structure, you're going to the rock piles, and you're fishing them out. And when you've got a population that big, you just keep catching them.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite an assortment of fish. You don't know what you're going to... we got the sheephead. No one wants a sheephead,
no.
But they're pretty fun to catch.
Right.
Silver bass, they're pretty fun to catch, and they are a pretty good table fare.
Yeah, I think so.
The walleyes, of course, the northern pike, and, of course, our bluegills are I think, world class, and when you can get on them, it's really fun. And now, for somewhere, these smallmouth bass have come out of nowhere. And there's been some 19-inch smallmouth bass caught. Well, that's a dandy,
You bet it is.
Especially this time of the year. Smallmouth bass, when the weather gets warm and then they come up to the surface, can be a lot of fun with a crankbait because they'll grab it off the top. It's what I like to call an action fish, especially when you take the kids out. And if you get some families that come up there, or dad's bringing up the younger fellas and gals with them, it's just an action fish. They can put a crank out if they don't want to sit there with a bobber and reel like Dad does. And those smallies will hit that. It's just a lot of fun. Whether they grab that, that hook or not, it's just, it's an action fish. It's a fun fish.
Most definitely. They all jump out of the water.
Yeah, that's fun. They love to see that, and it keeps everybody involved in the game. Steve Nelson, Wheaton Service, you had your take of vet fishing. We'll talk about that again when you do it again. Thank you for throwing events like that and spending time here with us. Traverse Lakes, we're looking for some good spearing stories and ice fishing stories when we get back together with you a little bit later this year.
Yeah, I can. Well, I can wait for the ice, but I'm really looking forward to the spearing season and the ice fishing season. It should be phenomenal.
I think that'd be fun.
Hey, Steve, thanks for taking some time out again for Ticket Outdoors.
You bet. Thanks for letting me on.
Absolutely. Happy fishing.
Thanks.
Gosh, I want to get up there and do some fishing.
Let's do the spearfish. We talk about we've had so many opportunities to do so much, but we can't do it all, and we can only do one or two things a year.
You like to do the unique ones,
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, I've done it once. Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
You spearfished?
Yeah, I did it once, and you're just staring at a hole, and you see decoy, and then you see this thing just lurking up to it, and it's like it's like seeing a buck. You're just like, whoa!
Yeah. All right, so our next guest pushed out on us. Is that what I heard?
I think my son Mike is bailing out on us, but we'll BS about stuff.
That's too bad because he's on a prairie dog hunt. Is that the deal?
Yes, he is out in where is he? Wyoming? Where is he? Sugar Plum, come on.
Probably Wyoming. It'd be Wyoming.
Maybe we could get
or West River.
Diana on you.
On the other side of anywhere on the other side of the Missouri, West River, North Dakota.
That's where he's going.
Around Theodore.
He's got
Roosevelt
that $1,000 rifle he's got.
From Lakes Trading.
From Lakes Trading in Forest Lake. You bet.
That's too bad. I would have loved to have chatted with him about that. No, I get it. He's out and he's He's not one of these celebrity people that we talk to. So we'll come back with a little more BS on Ticket Outdoors.
This is Andrew Wiggins. You're listening to Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
Montoya, Power, Dixon, Rahal, Andretti, Castroneves. Great drivers, great races. The Verizon Indy Car Series on Sports Radio 105 The Ticket.
Rahal slug around Marco Andretti. Will Power the leader. Now they start to tuck in all the way to the bottom of the track. Let's turn to Canal.
Saturday night racing when the Indy Cars tackle Iowa Speedway for the Iowa Corn 300. Saturday night at 7 o'clock. Hear the best of the Verizon Indy Car Series on 105 The Ticket.
Summer fun begins at Mills Fleet Farm. For thrills on the water, jump on a full throttle Enforcer towable. On sale, $99.99. Save on Michelin tires. Buy 4, get a $70 MasterCard reward card. Bring home the good stuff for your pets. Get a $10 gift card when you buy select sizes of Science Diet dog or cat food. And stock up on Pine Tree Farm's suet cakes. They're just 69 cents each at Mills Fleet Farm.
The Ticket Outdoors is proud to be a partner with Lakes Trading Company. Why? Because they kick. That's why. Guns to buy, guns to shoot, guns to rent, and the best prices on ammo around. We love Lakes Trading Company because they eat, sleep, and breathe guns just like us. Looking to get a permit to carry class or renew your old permit? Don't be disappointed by a cut-rate instructor. Lakes Trading Company has top-notch instructors and on-site range and meals provided. Lakes Trading Company, off 8th Street in Forest Lake, or online at lakestradingco.com.
Midsummer in Minnesota means one thing: being out in the water to enjoy the beautiful weather and 10,000 lakes with our family and friends. This is Boomer with the Ticket Outdoors, and my friends and family have been fortunate enough to spend awesome time on the water with my T-Pro 195. What a perfect fishing boat made right here in Minnesota. This boat is made for the serious fisherman and comfortable enough for the whole family. If you want to learn more about the T-Pro series of boats and the whole lineup from Alumacraft Boats, visit alumacraft.com, and thanks for listening to the Ticket Outdoors.
This is your 105 The Ticket weather from Nature's Fury. Tonight, maybe a scattered thunderstorm. Look at a low of 66 and mostly cloudy. Weird week with a cool down tomorrow, high of 69. Also a 50% chance of rain. 62 for a low tomorrow night, and then Friday back up to 89 and mostly sunny, small chance of rain. The weekend also looking hot, 93 for a high on Saturday, Sunday 84, maybe some thunderstorms on Saturday. This weather update is brought to you by Nature's Fury. You can find Nature's Fury at your local Cub Foods and select holiday stores.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
Yeah, boys. Asher Bloom, he got rescued in the Boundary Waters when his canoe capsized and trapped him for hours.
He'll be on later on. This is going to be a fun story.
Why don't you tell us your story about when that happened to you?
I will, but I thought I'd save it for when I was with Asher Bloom, and I'll tell you. Well, I'll tell it right now, I guess. But Asher Bloom, the young man from Rochester, maybe 15, 16 years old. He'll be on at about 8:30. He was, I think it might have been his first trip also up to the Boundary Waters. Now, I'm 64 years old. I've crapped over enough logs. I don't want to do it anymore. I've slept in enough tents. I've portaged way more than I want to remember.
Yeah, by the way, Mark, do that when your kids are young. Because when they get older, you don't want to be like, I never took them to the Boundary Waters. I suppose I ought to. I did that with the girls when they were younger, and now if they want to go, charge.
Yeah,
absolutely. Knock yourself out.
My dad always brought me when I became large enough to carry the canoe for him.
Right.
There's a window of 12 to 17 that he took me every year.
You don't want to take him. Yeah, obviously you don't want to take him too young because that's more crap to port and carry.
Work for you.
Yeah, no, this isn't a trip to the mall. I mean, you got to be able. That's what I told the girls. Sydney always loved that stuff and wanted to get out young. And I'm like, when you can take care of yourself to some degree.
When I have a heart attack in the woods and you can make it back on your
right. Exactly. When you can carry your own pack.
Having spent a lot of time up in Ely, Minnesota when I was a kid, I was very, very blessed that my old man was a hunter-fisherman for years. That's all he did. He worked at U.S. Gypsum Roofing Company for 35 years. He got 2 weeks vacation, and 2 weeks were up in Ely, Minnesota. And back then it took about 6 hours to get to Ely, 7 hours, because it was like Highway 61. And little hunting shack up there. But I spent most of my life in the summer up there, loved it, and got an opportunity to teach the kids how to love the outdoors as well. But I'll never forget, my dad would tow us across Vermilion in canoes, go to Trout Lake Portage, take the truck portage across into Trout Lake, and fish that way. And I was with a friend of ours. Diana knows this guy, Dave Ekblad, my son Nick, my son Joe, I think Mike might have been too young. we had 3 canoes, and we're trying to figure out, okay, we're going to go to a little lake called Pine Lake in the Boundary Waters.
I know Pine Lake.
And Pine Lake is only about a mile north of our hunting shack, off of Vermilion there. And so we're figuring out, because we read all about it, let's go canoe, let's have a good time and camp out. The weather was crappy. It was
no smartphones with GPS
no.
maps on them.
It was windier than heck, and of course we fill the canoes with more stuff than we need. And my son Nick or my son Joe is in the middle of the top of this canoe, and it's flipping back and forth. One of the kids breaks a canoe paddle. We had to stop on an island until the wind stopped, because you only have one guy in a canoe paddle. It was just brutal. So anyway, Pine Lake, we go to the Truck Lake Portage, and Pine Lake's to the right, and we say, okay, let's go north on Trout Lake. Let's say there's a portage right off the corner here. We can go to this portage and go into Pine Lake. It's about a half-mile portage. BS. Let's take Trout Lake all the way up about 2 miles, 3 miles, and canoe up Trout Lake, and then take a creek down into Pine Lake. Makes sense to me, right?
What could possibly go wrong?
Well, we go all the way up, and we're fighting the wind. We break the canoe paddle, all this. We go all the way up. We
get up to the creek.
We get up to the creek, and we realize it's flowing north. We got to fight the current going all the way. It was just an absolute mess. So anyway,
that's why you paddle and it moves a little forward and then drifts more back.
So it was so wet. The waves were so big. Ray Baker, one of the friends that we went with, and his kid, David Baker, I think, all of his clothes were wet. He didn't put any of his clothes in a plastic bag. And I'm Mr. Nice Guy, so I give him my sleeping bag. I slept on the floor of a tent in a snowmobile suit, and I wake up in the morning and it's snowing. And I thought, well, this is not fun anymore. It just isn't fun anymore. So
it's an adventure.
It's it's the journey, not the destination.
But that's the story you're telling, and that's what I would always tell myself and the girls would be out there crying, and Dad like, well, there's no truck to walk to, darling.
But I'll tell
we're
you
out here for a while. But those are the ones we still talk about. You talk about the crappy weather, and the time that you dumped the canoe. We did that twice. Dumped the canoe, and
we killed the walleyes. Had a great time, and I remember it's the first time I saw loons doing the mating dance on the back legs and the wings and flipping across the lake. It was just gorgeous. Then anyway, we realized, okay, it's the end of this trip, and we're going to take the portage now. Instead of going all the way north and back down again, we're going to take the portage back to the Truck Lake the truck portage, whatever it was. And Dave Ekblad packed steel kettles and steel pans, and there's so much weight, and it was like a 3 or 4 trip across this portage, pain in the ass. And my son Joe, we always give him stuff, and we're all running, we're trying to get this thing done. I'll never forget coming up this little hill, and I see my son Joe sitting on his ass. I kicked him right in the ass. Get up, pal. I just sat down. Baloney, you just get your butt, you're helping us.
We had a couple of drives back from there where there wasn't a lot said. It was quiet time.
Yeah.
Nobody was talking to Dad, and I wasn't saying much. Well, just get home.
Yeah.
There used to be a tradition in our family where if a young man was about to marry a young lady, we always brought her to the Boundary Waters to see if she was legit.
If she could hang.
You don't know your future wife unless you've spent a week in the woods with her. And I would say 5 or 6 of my cousins did that, and some made it and some didn't.
Diana came on one trip with us with the 3 kids, the same truck portage across into Trout Lake, and went to a lake called Lake Ornack. Gorgeous. And Diana does not like mice or rats, and she's got a story she'll tell you after the show about why. Anyway, we're on this island, and it's infested with mice, and she is freaking out. But I'll tell you, the second or third night we're camping there, she's got them named. There's Bubba, there's Mikey. She's feeding these mice. It was wonderful.
Your little buddies.
Yeah. But it's memories, like you said.
Well, and that's what Asher Bloom's going to be sharing with us. We always talk about the bad ones, and I've talked about that on different hunting trips. I mean, Dad and I were just together over the 4th of July, and sure, I mean, if you get a trophy, there's a couple of trophies in there. That big muley I got out in West River, we tell those stories. But the stories that you tell and you really laugh and you spend most of the time on, Well, the one in the blizzard out in West River where we didn't get any deer that year, and it was just trying to practically survive. We took my uncle's van out there, who he had Jimmy rigged a wood stove into his van.
Inside the van?
Inside the van, which was quite a luxury because then we could make little grilled cheese, and he made his whiskey slushies with the abundance of snow that we had. Never did end up harvesting a deer on that particular trip. The only time we got skunked ever in West River, the only time my dad ever got skunked, but the weather was so bad, and we got up the next morning and couldn't get out of the van. We were completely snowed into the van.
Oh, my God.
Dad had to sleep on the floor, and when he woke up, there's a little pile of snow on his head because there was a hole in the floor of the van. And then we couldn't get out. I mean, you had to wind down the windows, and we had to snow tunnel out, and he snow tunneled me out to get to the top. And then, we literally used a plate that we had to shovel the van out. And but those are the ones you remember, and those are the ones you talk about if you survive them. And thankfully, Asher Bloom survived his.
This is not a hunting story, but talking about the van deal, I bought everyone knows that now that I'm a left-handed pole lock from the east side of St. Paul. I bought an old Volkswagen bus, and I called it the Polish Cadillac. And I took out the back seat so I could take my kids, all the hockey team and baseball teams, whatever. I was the go-to guy. But in the winter, those Volkswagen buses are colder than the hell because the engine's in back.
Right.
Was someone, I saw it on the paper or wasn't Craigslist, I don't know where I saw this, that some guy could make the heat come from the back, from the engine to the front. So he had like those cardboard tubes. He cut a hole in the engine compartment and ran a tube right through the middle of the Volkswagen bus up to the front.
Like toilet paper rolls?
Oh, yeah, no, it's a hardcore cardboard thing.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, and it worked like a son of a gun, but I was high every time I got in my car because all those fumes.
Good grief.
Yeah. And they called it the Polish Cadillac. We're with the kids one time at a hockey game, and I'm going to open the door, and I open the door, and the thing goes and falls right off. And the Polish Cadillac.
Let's talk to Asher Bloom. He's got a Boundary Water story for us when we come back with Ticket Outdoors.
Ticket Outdoors on 105 The Ticket.
Midsummer in Minnesota means one thing, being out in the water to enjoy the beautiful weather and 10,000 lakes with our family and friends. This is Boomer with the Ticket Outdoors, and my friends and family have been fortunate enough to spend awesome time on the water with my T-Pro 195. What a perfect fishing boat made right here in Minnesota. This boat is made for the serious fisherman and comfortable enough for the whole family. If you want to learn more about the T-Pro series of boats and the whole lineup from Alumacraft Boats, visit alumacraft.com, and thanks for listening to the Ticket Outdoors.
Summer fun begins at Mills Fleet Farm. For thrills on the water, jump on a full-throttle Enforcer towable on sale, $99.99. Save on Michelin tires. Buy 4, get a $70 MasterCard reward card. Bring home the good stuff for your pets. Get a $10 gift card when you buy select sizes of Science Diet dog or cat food. And stock up on Pine Tree Farm's suet cakes. They're just 69 cents each at Mills Fleet Farm.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
I'm on. I apologize, folks. You're listening to the Ticket Outdoors 105.
That was a short break.
But I had to go to the bathroom, and since I'm the boss here, I should have figured all of this out, but I apologize. Welcome back to Ticket Outdoors. And do we have the young man
on? He is on the line, yeah.
I'm a little winded. Asher Bloom, welcome to Ticket Outdoors.
Yeah, thanks, man.
You bet. I sort of had a I don't know how your story goes. We're going to hear that in a minute, but I sort of had one myself. It was a short commercial break, and I had to pee. The bathroom's way down at the other end of the hall. Well, I'll tell listeners about that next week. It'll take some time, but welcome to Ticket Outdoors, and thanks for your patience. Where are you from, Asher?
I am from Rochester, Minnesota.
All right. What do you do?
I don't really know. All I really know is I do my school and clean things and shower and go to bed.
Asher, how old are you?
16.
Okay, that's why you couldn't answer that question. 16, you don't do anything. I mean, you just do what a 16-year-old does. I don't know anything about you, Asher, and neither do our listeners, and that's trying to kind of get to know you here. We're setting the stage, as it were. A little background here. 16-year-old kid from Rochester, Minnesota. And you like to hunt and fish, anything like that?
I like hunting a lot, like the rush of killing something.
Yeah.
Fishing is okay, I guess. It's boring.
Right.
But, when you're fishing, you can just think and stuff, I guess.
Spend a lot of time thinking and stuff, do you, Asher?
Well, he had about 7 hours in the Boundary Waters to.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Sadly, no.
No, don't say sadly. There'll be time for that. So you're happy most of the time. All right, well, Asher, a 16-year-old kid from Rochester, you ended up in the Boundary Waters. Stu and Mark and I were just sitting here talking about our time with our kids and when we were kids up in the Boundary Waters of Minnesota. Is it a place that you go annually?
This is my first time. It was pretty cool. I went with my church group.
Okay, church
group. Well, Asher, this is Steve Strusinski. We've spoken. Thanks for being on the air. Since you're not a huge outdoors guy, how did you end up in the Boundary Waters? Because I've been up there many, many times. My parents had a cabin up in Ely, Minnesota. It's a wonderful part of the world. But since you're not an active outdoors person, how did you end up going to the Boundary Waters in the first place?
Well, I signed up for a church trip thing, go up there with my youth group and, learn stuff and canoe a lot.
Yeah, a lot of church groups go up there. Yeah, they take your kids up there. You get out of the parents' hair for a little while. You get to commune with nature, get to know yourself better. Hey, I was on a church trip back out in Storm Mountain in the Black Hills of South Dakota where I first made out with a chick.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 14 or 15 or something like that. Karen Nelson from Redfield. Well, it wasn't part of the project. It wasn't on the list of things to do for the day. But
and what a coincidence. It's kind of ironic. He's on his first church group trip. He's making out with a girl, and her name is Christian. It's so cool.
Wow. It totally was not.
Hey, Asher, let's talk about now. What do you enjoy doing now? You're going to school. You're 15, 16 years old. You're going to be a junior or a sophomore?
I'm going to be a junior.
Okay, junior. What are your aspirations?
Okay, I didn't really hear that.
What are your aspirations? What do you think you want to do?
Well, I guess my dream is to become an executive chef at a hotel somewhere in the world.
All right. Have you seen the movie Chef?
No.
Oh, it's wonderful. I tell you what, seriously, I love movies. I watch a lot of movies, but the movie came out just last year called Chef. It's very funny. It's very real. You would enjoy it. Make sure you pick it up. That's well done.
What about Ratatouille? Have you seen that one?
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Right, because if you can just find a rat that knows how to cook, I think you'll be okay. Executive chef.
I don't think I'm bad at cooking.
Yeah. What do you like to cook?
My favorite is chicken piccata.
I don't even know what that is. That sounds delicious. I'm starving.
Me, man.
Yeah, right. You're already. Is that more difficult to make than mac and cheese?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You're way over my head. So, Asher, you get together with the church group. Have you done anything with this particular church group before?
Not really.
Yeah, church groups are different than your buddies you hang out with at school. It's a different clique because...
Yeah. But I'm homeschooled, so I don't really have any buddies to hang out with anyways.
Okay, Asher, nobody's going to get a violin out here for you.
Asher sounds like he's going to be on top of a post office with an Uzi when he's about 26 years old. But I'll tell you what, Asher, let's go up to the Boundary Waters. Now, when you went to the Boundary Waters, did you go out of Ely?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and did you cross Farm Lake, or which lake did you go and to get into the Boundary Waters?
I don't really know. All I know is we went around Moose Lake area.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Asher, I want you to come out of your shell here a little bit, buddy, and start to take us on this trip. The day you get up there, how many kids are with you? What's your counselors like, and what are you up to?
Well, the day we get out there, there's 11 youth group guys, 3 leaders, and I guess since we got out there around 6, just everybody's all tired, packing up, getting ready to go, like, canoeing and stuff.
Is this something you wanted to do, or did Mom and Dad say, get your butt up there?
Well, it was something I wanted to do. I haven't really gone canoeing in, like, the past 5 years. So.
Okay. Do you know the kids in your church, these other 11 fellas? Is it guys and gals?
Yeah, I know them, but don't really, like, hang out with them.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but since I busted up my foot, I got 2 new really good friends now.
Yeah, see, the sympathy is awesome, man. So anyway, you get up there the first night. You get up the next morning, and you're ready to take off. What happens?
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
So, that first night, you guys all just sack out. You get up the next morning, and what happens?
Well, the next morning, we just got up. I ate 3 gigantic bowls of oatmeal, and
so you're regular.
There was 2 guys in my canoe. I was in the center. One of them was in the front. His name was Grant. The one in the back, his name was Josiah.
Do you like him? Josiah.
What?
Is that Mom?
Oh, sorry.
Is that Mom?
Yeah, that was my mom.
Does she know you're doing a radio show right now?
Yes, she does.
Well, I don't know, and I don't want to get you into trouble. What are you doing? Who are you talking to?
I'm fine.
Yeah, all right. Tell her it's sex chat. On 93. No, we're fine.
Hey, Asher,
if she wants to, she can jump on the line.
Yeah, that'd be fun to have Mom on the line as well. Tell us now, did the situation take place during the first day, Asher?
It took place during the second day, out.
All right. And you were with your 3 buddies, your 2 buddies. I didn't know, I've been in the Boundary Waters many, many times. Was this a river? I mean, the water was running very, very quickly, or are you just going down some rapids?
It was a river-ish area, I guess. Actually, it was a river. We just turned out of, 3 gigantic lakes, and all the rain from the night before was pouring in them. That's why it was flowing so fast and stuff. Yeah.
And tell us exactly what happened. How did you guys screw up? Let's face it, somebody screwed up. I'll tell you, you can take for granted. I've done this a number of times. I'll tell you the story that I was going to tell my buddies here, but you can take for granted that it's a piece of cake flowing down these little rapids, even if it doesn't look intimidating at all. But things can change quickly. The reason I called you, Asher, is many, many years ago. One of the first times I was in the Boundary Waters, and I was telling Zepp, my buddy Brian Zepp, and Mark Lukey was here with me, is I was with my buddy Joe Bessler, who now lives in Alaska. And he is a very, very experienced canoeist. And I'm one of these guys, I weigh about 9 pounds, so I'm in the front of the canoe. Yeah. And Joe's in back, and he knows how to turn these things. And he always said, no matter what happens, keep paddling. I'll steer. Don't start doing like on a motorcycle. Don't lean with me. Just keep paddling.
Yeah.
And something happened where we actually screwed up, and the canoe turned sideways and opened up, and we capsized. And the canoe opened up upstream, so the water is rushing into the canoe. Now, fortunately, Joe and I were out of the canoe, but the water was so powerful, it literally bent the canoe probably 25 degrees backwards.
Yeah, that's what happened to my foot.
It was nuts how much it packed poles to the canoe, so I can see exactly what would happen to you. So tell us the story if you would.
I'll tell you what, let's take a break right here. Asher, we're going to come back, and then we'll dive into the trauma and the drama of your trip to the Boundary Waters on Ticket Outdoors.
The DA Show, weeknights until 9 on the Twin Cities Sports Radio, 105 The Ticket.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, only on 105 The Ticket.
Joey Logano just screens out into the lead. McMurray's blocking the second. Matt Kenseth and Kevin Harvick side by side for third.
Sunday, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series head to the Magic Mile, New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Camping World RV Sales 301. Tune in Sunday at 11:30 a.m.
That's the battle for the lead in turn 1.
This is Brad Keselowski. This is Dylan Hart Jr. This is Jeff Gordon. This is Jimmy Johnson. This is Kevin
Your
Harvick.
home for NASCAR in the Twin Cities is Sports Radio 105 The Ticket.
Summer fun begins at Mills Fleet Farm. For thrills on the water, jump on a full throttle Enforcer towable. On sale, $99.99. Save on Michelin tires. Buy 4, get a $70 MasterCard reward card. Bring home the good stuff for your pets. Get a $10 gift card when you buy select sizes of Science Diet dog or cat food. And stock up on Pine Tree Farm's suet cakes. They're just 69 cents each at Mills Fleet Farm.
If you love the outdoors, then you probably have a truck that you love too. Custom Truck Accessories can help protect your truck from the rigors of outdoor activities. They have custom seat covers and floor mats to protect against the mud and dirt from the field. Toppers and tonneau covers to protect your gear. If you're a truck guy, you'll appreciate the knowledge and experience of the Custom Truck Accessories crew. Visit CustomTruckAccess.com or stop by their store to see what a difference being family-owned can make for you.
John Thielen here, host of Fish Ed TV. When I'm looking for that go-to bait for walleye fishing throughout the summer months, I look no further than the Lindy Lil Guy. The Lil Guy offers a cross between a Lindy rig, a crawler harness, and a crankbait. Its hard floating body runs like a crankbait in front of a tandem hook crawler harness. The Lil Guy is equally deadly at Lindy rig and spinner speeds or pulled aggressively at crankbait speed. The Lindy Lil Guy is available in 11 distinct color patterns and can be found at your favorite retailer or at lindyfishingtackle.com.
Now back to Ticket Outdoors, only on Sports Radio 105, The Ticket.
You'll want the podcast of this one. You can find it on 105theticket.com in a day or two. Our guest here is Asher Bloom, young 16-year-old man down in Rochester, Minnesota, who was on a church group boundary water
It's
trip.
amazing how good you are at your job, Zepp, when you're done peeing. This was wonderful. You're right on that button, boy. You got the music going. You are good at your job.
Yeah, don't get on my bad side there, buddy.
All right.
You need me for another 15 minutes here.
Asher Bloom's on the air.
Asher Bloom on the air, and so he's with his church group, and he goes up for a boundary water trip. Pretty typical. Take us to day 2, Asher. You're out there. You're with these 11 fellas. You've got the 3... I don't know, what do they call them again? Not guides, obviously. They're your...
Counselors,
chaperones. Your 3 camp counselors. And there you are, day 2. You're back in the canoe, and you guys are paddling away. 3 guys to a canoe.
Actually, we were the only 3-person canoe. Everybody else was in a 2-person canoe.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
You were in the middle. You weren't even paddling, right? You were just kind of hanging on for the ride?
Sorry. I actually...
you just apologize to your mom. No, I want to know what's going on with Mom. Are we in the doghouse with Mom?
I don't know. She just smacked me in the head for playing with this door here.
I tell her to go log on to 105theticket.com and listen to her son on the radio.
Okay. Hey, Allison. This guy here says to go on 105theticket.com and listen to our radio thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that Mom? You call Mom Allison?
Yeah, she's my stepmom.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, gotcha. All right, yeah, tell Allie go listen to the radio station, and she can hear her son on the her stepson on the big time radio station. How long has she been your stepmom?
I'd say about 2 years.
Yeah, she's slapping you on the head, really. Okay, sorry, we don't want to get into a domestic thing here, Asher. So you're in the 3-man canoe, which is a little different, a little trickier.
It's tougher, yeah.
Yeah, when you got that guy in the middle. You're up in the boundary waters. What kind of day was it? Sunny, bright, pleasant?
It was a little cloudy and foggy in the beginning of the day. Otherwise, like when I got sunk, it was nice and sunny, nice and warm.
Beautiful day to get sunk. Okay, so take us through it. What time of the day was it?
I'd say it was around 10 or 11 a.m., don't really know.
Yeah.
And me and my friends, we were riding some rapids because we didn't want to take a 340.
Asher, if you're homeschooled, it's my friends and I, okay? Remind Mom, it's my friends and I. But
if I was there, I'd hit you in the head.
No, keep on going. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't really want to take a 340 portage, so
that's a good plan.
Decided to go on the rapids. I mean, it was... you wouldn't necessarily call them rapids up more than just fast-flowing water.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the first 2 sets we went down just fine, except on the second set, our canoe didn't really tip. We just went backwards. And the third set of rapids, which is the one that I got stuck on, we, went around. I mean, it was around a bend or whatever, and we heard the rapids. So we decided to pull over to the side and check it out before we went down.
Yeah, good plan.
So, but when we went close, we got sucked in by the current, and we just decided, heck, let's just gun it. So we did, and obviously it wasn't the best choice.
Well, you know, a lot of times when you get pulled into rapids, they say just paddle your way through it. Just
try to go.
Paddle like a son of a gun. So was there someone in your in your canoe? Were there one of the counselors in the canoe with you?
No, he was in the canoe behind me.
All right, so he's just barking out orders probably that.
Not really.
Okay. All right, Asher. So now you've decided to go for it.
Yep. So we just decided to gun through it. Grant, the guy that was in the front, he just kept shouting orders, go this way, go that way. And then all of a sudden he shouted rock, everybody bail. So
everybody bail. That's not good advice.
Sounds like a Korean boat pilot. Remember that guy? Yeah.
Don't listen to the guy in the front anyway. The guy in the back's going
Everyone jump out.
All right, so then you, without hesitation, being a good troop, Asher, you bailed.
Actually, I would have, but I tried to throw out the backpacks because, you know, these things, we need to survive, and I didn't want them to get stuck right there on that rock.
I like you, Asher. You might want to think about a career in the military. You've got a head on you. Okay, continue.
Yeah, I know, but I got flat feet, so I won't get in.
That's funny. Continue, young man, continue. So you're the last man in the boat. You're the last man leaving this boat. You're throwing crap out.
Those guys bail, but Asher's trying to save the packs.
I was able to throw out the first backpack. Grant, by that time, was already halfway down the rapids, so I threw his backpack to him. And then around another bend, there was another set of rapids about twice as bad as the one that we were on. And then he disappeared, and I was freaking out. Oh my gosh, where is he? And by that time, the canoe had hit the rock, turned sideways, and wrapped around my foot.
Yeah.
So now, I'm trying to visualize this. You're trapped in the canoe then?
Yes.
So you're sitting in the canoe with one foot outside, and between the canoe and the rock.
I wouldn't say between the canoe and the rock. It was the canoe itself folded over itself.
Oh boy.
And, folded up around my ankle area.
Okay, so that's not a good spot to be in. You realize that almost immediately. What happened next?
Let's see. Our camp guy, one of the leader dudes, he saw us go down, and, well, when the canoe wrapped around my ankle, I started shrieking. Wasn't, the best feeling thing in the world.
Right.
And so he didn't know what was going on. Then I basically just showed him the universal sign for bent. And motioned him to come over and save me. So, I don't know how he did it, though, but somehow he got from, the shore to me, halfway in the center of the rapids. I really don't know how he did it. It was really cool.
But I want to know this. You were there about 6 hours, right? Something like 5-6 hours you were trapped in that situation, right?
About 7 hours, actually.
Well, 7 hours?
How did they contact somebody to get you out? I mean, I can't believe that there weren't enough guys in that group to be able to pull that canoe off the rock.
14 guys.
Yeah. One of the guys that pulled me out of the water said that they had a 25,000-pound carabiner. And when they pulled me out, they didn't have it fully clipped or whatever. It bent. So.
Wow, that water was. You described it not as rapids, but as fast-flowing water.
That's fast.
It sounds like a lot of water.
Yeah, there was a lot of water. We had at least 3 gigantic lakes over there, pouring all down that one spillway or whatever it's called.
And forcing that canoe that was keeping your foot trapped against that rock. If they're using a 25,000-pound I can't even pronounce the word. Carabiner, thank you. And that thing snapped off.
It bent, didn't really snap.
Bent. That's a lot of force. So, in other words, a handful of guys that could have made it over to you without being washed away would have never been able to pull that canoe off.
Yeah. They were running around panicking and praying and stuff.
Well, that's what church groups do.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Right.
Hey, Asher, but how did you contact help?
Well, one of my buddies from my youth group, Connor, he ran down to the first group who actually took the 340 portage.
Okay.
So, like, he ran down to my actual youth pastor and told him, like, Asher's stuck. It's an emergency. And so he put on this little beacon thing.
Yeah.
And lucky for us, there was a couple. Who are they? What are they called? Like some sort of Eagle Scout trail people. And yeah, they had like a two-way cop radio thing.
Cool.
And so they
knew the universal signal for bent. So that's.
What did you do this entire 7 hours? I mean, just.
Well, for like the entire 7 hours, I was basically just praying, I guess, in my mind.
At some point, I think I'd get a little bored even.
Was there much pain at that time?
Like the first 2 or 3 hours, like the pain was very, very bad.
But I suppose after that it goes numb, I suppose.
Oh, say what?
I suppose. Come on, man. We talk to us.
He's watching TV. You realize that?
I'm not watching TV.
I said. I suppose after a while it becomes numb. After a while, you just accept it. I suppose.
They told me the water was cold.
Oh, I suppose. Yeah.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
So
like
an ice pack.
It helped me, kind of. It helped numb the pain or whatever. Like I was going through hypothermia.
Yeah.
But.
For somebody just tuning in and wondering what the hell's happening, Asher Bloom, a 16-year-old young man from Rochester, is with his church group up in the Boundary Waters, and the canoe tips over and traps with a great force of water his foot between the rock and the canoe. He's trapped for 7 hours until they're able to come in and get this canoe off. And Asher, tell me about the time when you thought you were finally going to get. Was there at any point where you thought, I mean, your life's not in danger, but did you think maybe?
Well, I guess the entire time I figured my life was in danger.
Yeah.
I mean, the water was moving so fast I could barely hang on to the rock or whatever.
So you're hanging onto the rock. You're worried about getting. I mean, so there was potential for you to get kind of washed under.
Yeah, there was. A couple times I actually lost my grip and went under, but the what's his name? Matt.
Yeah.
He was one of my crew leader guys. He helped hold me up, and he stayed there on that rock with me like the entire 7 hours. So
I would think also that there's got to be a point where you're thinking you might have some serious issues and maybe lose your foot or something, but that's got to be thinking that's got to be in the back of your mind as well.
Ow. Okay, so what?
Are you asking me or Mom?
Oh, you.
Oh, I said, did you ever think that you might lose your foot, or were you concerned about?
Actually.
Yeah.
They were taking so long. I mean, it's not a bad thing. They got me out.
Yeah.
But they were taking a while. I just kept telling Matt to tell him to cut off my foot. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna need it. They make those prosthetic things,
Not an athletic kid, are you?
No, some guy was in the Olympics with a funny foot, but you could do the same thing. So they actually had a helicopter take you out, right?
Okay, so what?
Did they have a helicopter take you out? How did you get out of the?
It was really cool. They pulled me over to the helicopter place. I mean, not to the helicopter place, but on a rock, near the rapids or whatever.
Sure, somewhere where they could get the helicopter.
And then put me in a harness thing with another guy. I can't quite remember his name, but
that's cool.
And just flew me up. I think I passed out halfway.
So you were in a harness or something, like a
basket.
Like a basket. That would be a cool experience if you weren't in pain. But
I wasn't really in pain.
That would be scary. Yeah.
It was kind of scary. I got some problems with heights here, and I was just dangling 50 feet underneath the helicopter.
Now let me ask you one serious question. Are my taxes paying for your trip?
You owe us some money, young man.
Who's paying for this helicopter ride? Was it me?
My lawn.
Do you know? I mean, it's just who pays for this?
Actually, I don't really know. We are probably going to be stuck with it.
Oh.
But, yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, we'll get some sort of benefit going for you. Asher Bloom, our guest here. So what were your injuries?
My injuries were, and we just found out today, I got a crack in my bone.
Okay.
And I got some crush damage to my ankle.
Oh.
That's about it.
Well, that's pretty good, actually.
There goes the old 100-meter dash.
Yeah. So when are you going back to the Boundary Waters?
Next year when they're having the thing again.
Yeah, good for you, man. You're going to go back and take it on.
Yep, I'm going to go back on the same path and everything.
Outstanding. So now you seem, when you said that, you seem really determined now, man.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
I
get
mean,
back on that
I want
horse.
to conquer that now.
I know, but if it happens again, please call us back.
But,
okay, I'll try.
Well, tell Allison thanks for her patience with us this evening. And
hey, Allison, the guys on here say thanks for your patience. What? Yeah. Allison told me to thank you guys for your time as well.
Oh, she sounds very sweet. Thank you, Asher. Well, Asher, good luck in your recovery. What about did this happen?
Wait, what?
When did this happen? In the Boundary Water.
Oh, I'd say about 10 a.m.-ish.
Okay.
10, 11-ish.
It's talking about time of year. But all right, Asher, but hey, thanks a lot. Good luck with your recovery. Let us know how it turns out next year. Hopefully you'll get all the way to the end and conquer this. I'm glad you're taking it back on, man.
Yeah.
You seem like a pretty cool kid.
Cool, thanks.
Asher, if you go to the Ticket Outdoors, you can find this thing. Mark, tell them how to find this. You'll be able to listen to it sometime.
Go to 105theticket.com, click on Ticket Outdoors, and there's a link to the podcast.
105 The Ticket Outdoors, go to, right?
Yep.
And go to Ticket Outdoors 105 or something. But you'll find it. Listen to the show. It's a lot of fun. So thank you very much for being on, Asher.
Right.
Yeah, we really do.
Seriously,
I got something quick to say.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Yeah, if anybody is listening from, Duluth area, thank you for saving my life.
There you go.
It was very nice.
You bet.
Oh, absolutely. You got to get a hold of those people somehow and give them a nice
There's
thank
only
you.
2 people that I really know, like the names.
Yeah.
One of them, his name is Jim Devine, and the other one is Al.
Well, I hope you don't meet them sometime in the future. That means that the next trip didn't go as well. Hey, Asher, really, thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of your summer vacation. Don't worry about that job. You've got the rest of your life to work, man. Right?
Yeah, I guess, but I could really use some money, though.
I'll tell you what, every time I go into a fancy hotel, which isn't often, sometime about maybe, I'll say 10 years down the road, I'm going to ask who the executive chef is.
Okay.
All right, Asher. I hope I run into you sometime, man.
All right.
Take care, young man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, buddy. There goes Asher Bloom.
That's funny.
I had no idea really much about Asher Bloom because, you set it up a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And that's how Stru is with his mystery guest. It's not just some moniker. It's actually a mystery guest that the rest of us are sort of being springed on. And they've all been phenomenal. I'm going to be honest with you. In some ways, that was one of my favorites.
It was just fun.
He's such a typical 16-year-old kid. Kind of like, what? What's going on? Yeah. And Mom in the background, and quit playing with the door.
Mom, the meatloaf.
And, Mom, meatloaf, now! Mom! But
you heard a couple oohs.
That was kind of funny. And, and the whole thing, I don't just cut it off. I don't need it anyway. In a lot of ways, I know guys like that growing up, and I think he's a cool kid.
But I tell you what, it was also
fun.
funny. You guys know this, but I showed this to the guys. My sister-in-law, Julie Toth, T-O-T-H, texted me during this interview, and she said, "Oh, quit picking on the kid."
Yeah, and I don't know how, but we're actually overtime. So want to thank
That's
again.
That's because you peed too long.
Want to thank again Fleet Farm, Alumacraft, Lakes Trading Company, Custom Truck Accessories, Ticket Outdoors. We're back next Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Thanks for tuning in.
Summer fun begins at Mills Fleet Farm. For thrills on the water, jump on a full-throttle Enforcer towable on sale, $99.99. Save on Michelin tires. Buy 4, get a $70 MasterCard reward card. Bring home the good stuff for your pets. Get a $10 gift card when you buy select sizes of Science Diet dog or cat food. And stock up on Pine Tree Farm's suet cakes. They're just 69 cents each at Mills Fleet Farm.